It's this one.
Okay.
Yes, it's this one. I've read some of the influencers who traversed and visited that country over time. All right. The proverb.
The proverb.
Yeah, the Algerians seem to be quite simple. They're simple in their proverb. The proverbs are simple but very profound. A secret of two is soon a secret of nobody.
A secret of two is soon a secret of
nobody.
Yeah, wanasemanga hakuna siri ya watu wawili Waswahili sasa. Chambilecho wahenga. So pia wahenga wa Algeria know this particular thing to be a fact.
Walijua.
The moment you tell one person a secret, my friend,
well, what normally happens is they look for a best friend, just as minimal, and they swear them to secrecy. Until the secret. Then this person looks for their best friend and swears them to secrecy. But people who understand the meaning of a secret look for their 10 best friends and swear them to secrecy.
So it's no longer a secret. So someone says, kuja vikwambia usiambie mtu.
Kasema usiseme.
Usiseme.
Vile nimekwambia.
Siti akona tattoo kwa magoti.
Bwana we.
Siti, by the way, do you have a tattoo?
No, I don't. I've never actually had a tattoo.
Have you ever considered getting one?
No.
Okay. I don't know why I decided to go with tattoo.
I honestly have looked at tattoos and I have failed to understand the significance. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe you, a person who understands these things, can tell me.
Yes.
What would be the significance of
a tattoo? I honestly don't know. I've never had one. There's a time I actually considered getting a tattoo, but I lost interest. There's this friend of mine who got one, and this was when I was in campus. My friend got a tattoo, and I really wanted to get one, just to, ndio niseme I did it at one point in my life. But thank God I didn't, because had I done it, I don't know whether I'd be some of these things are permanent. Ukishaipata mwanangu ushaipata. Kuitoa inakuanga ni shida. Those who've attempted to remove their tattoos, especially through various methods such as laser, nasikianga that thing ain't funny, man. So I'm glad I never got that tattoo.
What I did though, I liked plaiting my hair.
Kushuka hata mimi nimeshuka. Hata last year nilikuwa nimeshuka.
Lakini it was more than this, huh?
It was longer, yes, for sure.
Afro ile.
Yeah, ilikuwa afro. I actually had very long hair. I did the cornrows. Let's get into radiogeneration.co.ke. City, I actually look very good in those lines.
I don't doubt that.
Okay. All right.
I don't doubt, and I think they look good. Personally, I think they look good.
Yes. Yeah. My daughter took one look and she was like, "Papa, you've decided to become a girl."
Uliweza hiyo?
Aliliambia hivyo nikamwambia, well, not really. I just want to know how it feels when you go to the salon. And she actually took me to the salon several times. It was quite the experience. Anyway, let's check out what is making headlines across the globe. This is radiogeneration.co.ke. That's a website, by the way, you can check it out. There's a story here by Tanya Wanjiko. JKIA to ban private cars from terminal as expansion plan kicks off. Okay. What is this all about? Let's check it out. Wanasema hivi, private vehicles will soon be restricted from entering the main terminal at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport as part of urgent measures to relieve overcrowding and create space for terminal expansion. Now, under the proposed changes, only airport authorized taxis and ride-hailing vehicles will be allowed to access the circular terminal area, while private cars will be rerouted to the long-term parking zone for drop-offs and pickups. All right. So consultants from Sidara who are leading the redesign explained that freeing the main terminal driveway will allow for immediate expansion, adding new check-in counters and security screening points. Good for them. Acha tuone itotokezea namna gani. I've actually never taken an aerial view of JKIA, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's usually circular, eh? Saying ndio heat.
Airports tend to be circular.
Yes. Like saying ndio heat. I've never actually visualized our airport. Every time I'm there, I get in, get out.
But these expansions began in the Uhuru era. Okay? And the all manner of things went on. And remember that we even had a fire.
Yes.
In the early part of the... And what ended up as the renovation was canopies had to be created, especially when you're going to international terminals. Because maze ukipanga foleni hapo, it'd be rained on. So some canopies were created. You know the disease that afflicts Kenya when it comes to development and the misappropriation of resources meant for these mega projects is something that is of concern, and how it will be rectified, I don't know. The thinking that is entrenched within those who work within the government and those who are business-minded, and work with the government, is that these resources must be plundered. You hear of a plan which we need. The airport, JKI, needed to have been refurbished, rearranged, redone, expanded a long time ago. Long time ago. These greenfield projects that you hear of, which came and was gone. People cancel projects not because they're not viable. They cancel projects because they want to put their own people to do the same projects. Now, this bedevils us, and this is something that is of immense concern, because the direct negative impact is that the very thing that we should have benefited from, like now, now, Middle East has a problem.
Yes.
Qatar has something like 300 planes somewhere. They need a place to nestle. If JKIA was what it was supposed to be, and all these other JKIA, the Mombasa
more international
airport, Eldoret, Kisumu, do we have one more? If all these airports were in the spanking condition they should be in, we would be able to do some very serious business with Qatar Airlines.
You're very right.
Because their planes can land there. Immediately, Nairobi would become a hub it never was. And it would become a transit point it never was. But when there's a short-sightedness among a leadership who think that progress means pilfering, progress means plundering, then woe betide us, in all honesty. Because an opportunity has come knocking, and that opportunity would have done us immense benefit. Because for the duration of the problem in the Middle East, guess who would benefit?
Kenya.
Because, man, we are so strategically positioned. But are we going to benefit?
Clearly not. I'm looking at this terminal and it doesn't look like it can hold anything. Anyway, I mean, not any to the house, sana, but we can do better.
You have
than
a good
this.
reason to the I remember when the World Cup was held in South Africa. I knew Oliver Tambo Airport. I knew the Cape Town Airport.
Yes.
I knew the sizes. Man, when they did up those airports, were they not fabulous? But they're not the only airport. Oliver Tambo was able to manage that traffic that came into the country. Now, when they were now diversified, whether they were going to the Western Cape, the Eastern Cape, these fellows have big airlines. If you look at the internal flights that they have, you Mango Airlines, whether it's an airline, I'm not making this thing up.
I know of Mango.
Yes. All these are the small airlines and so forth. My friend, it is busy, but they have built it up. Us, we plan, we put aside the money to build it. Then somebody comes out with some puny, teeny-weeny little thing, and you wonder, this can't cost whatever it is this guy's budgeted it for.
You know, the very first time I went to the airport, I was actually leaving the country, and I went there, and I was like, I marveled. You know, when you look at it, and I say, wow. Now this is JKIA, and you're like, wow. This is it, man. Like, hey, JKIA, what? Until I landed at Heathrow. And I was like, nimetoka Ushago. You know the way when you come from Ushago, then you come to the city, you feel, now I'm back to civilization, you know, flashing toilets, and, you know, you feel like umetoka mahali, umekuja kwingine. That's how I felt about JKIA. I was like, what on earth? Even the ambience, the smell of coffee in this particular airport, it's crazy. Then we went now to Logan Airport in Boston, and I was like, oh my goodness. I thought maybe because Heathrow is Heathrow, you know, Heathrow is London. My friend, you get to a place like Logan and you're like, what? Then you go to a place like Schiphol in Amsterdam and you're like, enyewe sisi tuko down.
And they expanded that Schiphol, but you can get lost.
Actually, you can get lost.
It's like a town.
And you look at that and you look at us and you're like, enyewe tuko Ushago. So when someone like President Trump says that we are a shithole, you kind of understand. I mean, you take offense, yes.
No.
But you kind of understand.
Why are you taking offense?
Because, I mean, why is he insulting us?
Is he insulting us, really?
Okay. He's just being brutally honest, eh?
Yeah, he's being annoyingly honest.
All right, here's another sad story. Wife of Iran's supreme leader succumbs to injuries, according to the state media. This is a story by Samuel Otieno now. The wife of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, who was injured in the same US-Israeli attack that killed her husband, has succumbed to her injuries, according to Iran's Tasnim news agency. Khamenei's wife, Mansoure Khojaste, lived largely outside the spotlight. Born in 1947 into a respected merchant family, she married Khamenei in 1964, according to the Times of India. Her father, Mohammed Ismail, was known as a successful businessman. This Iran story, we're going to hear about it for a while, going forward, obviously, because of the significance of the region. But I want to tie it to something that is happening here in Kenya. Kenyans decided to take the photos of our president, that is Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and then dressed him in a similar turban, of course using AI, as the supreme leader. And then they started tagging Iran's military, US military, on various occasions. So, for example, at one point they tagged the US military and told this is now on X and other social media spaces that, hey guys, there's the new Iran supreme leader who's been appointed, and then they put coordinates of our state house, and then they said that, oh, he's here. Now, of course, the US military will look at it and just laugh it off. They'll scoff and be like, idiots. But at the end of the day, I'm asking myself, like, what on earth? What on earth? What our social media space has become crazy.
Actually, it hasn't.
It has always been crazy, but I think with every passing day, like, Kenyans do not lack a different way of just making that space more intriguing.
What I find amazing or interesting is what it is and why it is. This hatred for President Ruto is manifesting in so many ways, because it's absolutely undiluted hatred. Why?
I have no idea.
I have to ask that question. Why is it that some people hate President Ruto so much? And then there are those who are determined that, and they keep saying, we can't have another 5 years of Ruto.
Yeah.
I need to understand what you mean, because I also live in this country. And I'm certain there are many things that happen that I don't understand.
Yeah.
What is it that Ruto has done that singularly,
yes,
he's the one man who cannot possibly be in charge of this country for another 5 years? What is it?
Would they say the same about President Uhuru during his time?
Yes, because there was a lot of angst about President Uhuru. So it all also boiled down to the question of the narrative, the anti-Ruto, the hate Ruto campaign. Who are the people who are propagating it? Because narratives are pushed. They are pushed.
Yeah.
When I read the Standard and what they write, them I understand. I understand very well where they're coming from. Okay, inject is what they call it. Okay.
Yes.
I understand it. Okay. Now, whenever a narrative takes hold like this one has taken hold, there are people who sort of like join in and they don't ask this question. I honestly want to understand. There's something that Ruto has done,
yes,
that I have not seen and I don't know, and which makes him singularly unfit to have 10 years.
Yeah.
What is it?
We honestly need to ask Kenyans.
I mean, those who know, tell us so that we also know, so that we can also join the bandwagon. Because right now we don't know. We know the problems that this country has. We've seen the things that people in his government have done. We've seen people who came from absolute penury and now seem to be flying choppers with their own and doing all that. We've seen all this.
So actually, Dr. Miguna reposted this. I rather wrote this, and then he was reposted by several people, including Dr. Willy Mutunga. But anyway, this is what Dr. Miguna said. To Kenyan imperialist zombies, putting tyrant William Ruto's image in Supreme Leader Ayatollah's Khamenei's turban and beard is stupid. Khamenei was a pious, honest, and committed spiritual leader of the Iranians. He did not plunder his country's resources, contrary to Western imperialist propaganda. He did not abduct, maim, and murder innocent civilians like Ruto. Then he also tagged real Donald Trump and Netanyahu, who is the Prime Minister of Israel. Then he goes on to say, instead of being imperialist zombies, you should put Ruto's face in Netanyahu and Trump's images. That is Dr. Miguna.
Yes, firing from both barrels, huh?
Hapa ndio nani anasemaga nyereke gwere mani. You know, I'm telling you, this Kenyan space, not airspace, but this Kenyan social media space, my friend, is just crazy.
You know, I understand.
Yeah.
Whenever people talk about the number of people who have died,
yes.
If we're doing a body count, the largest body count of Kenyans who died was during the Mau Mau War. In the Kenyatta era, we didn't have the Kenya National Human Rights Commission.
Yeah.
We didn't have accountability through agencies that look after and seek to maintain human rights. So numbers are hazy and fuzzy. We do not know. The number of people who were killed in Kisumu after the launch of the Russian hospital, which was later called Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Hospital, we don't know. What we know is what the state numbers were. When we fast forwarded to the number of years when people were incarcerated in the in the Kenyatta era,
yes,
people started disappearing. We know singularly of individuals who stood out in government and died under circumstances that were considered mysterious.
Right.
Then we come to the Moi era. It was repressive in many, many, many ways. Many, many people died. Many people died in prison. Nothing happened. There was no recourse. There was nothing you could do.
Yeah.
The law more or less allowed for Moi to do what he wanted. We got the second liberation. Still a far cry, but our laws even then still allowed the president to detain you. You could be detained. The guy decides you're going to be detained, you're detained. It's not complicated.
It's a wrap.
Yes, and this thing that we now have where everybody's allowed, you can be arrested, but you're allowed bail. Zero. You could be arrested and you could be kept for as long as they want. You could even be forgotten.
Yeah.
And many people were forgotten. We don't know the numbers because, again, human rights, bodies and so forth didn't exist then, but they started existing, and we started talking about the numbers. Where we saw the heaviest body toll was in 2008. By that time, we had fully fledged, fully grown agencies that kept these tabs, and they told you this number of Kenyans died during these clashes. But even then, some numbers were muted because there are children who disappeared, young men who disappeared and nobody ever heard of, and nobody ever talks about them. There are people who talk about mass graves, whether they exist or not, I do not know. Okay? During that same era of the Kibaki era, there was a purge on what they call the Mungiki. Many young men died, my friend. There are people who talk about 800, there are people who talk about 1,000, people who talk about 2,000. People died. It's not just Mungiki. There are those that Mungiki killed. That, in this day and age, was the period where the largest number of Kenyans died. Then Uhuru comes in. People forget the bodies that piled up, and the people who are shot in Kondele, people who are shot within the regions of Kisumu. People are killed in town. People are found in Yala River. People are found in coffee bushes in Kiambu. Those body counts were big. They were very big. People who died in Kibra during those protests. Then comes Ruto. You look at the Sufria demonstrations. People died. We saw direct attack on Raila Odinga's vehicle. We've been told here by Itali how tear gas was lobbed into a vehicle that he was in, and the harm that has done him, and how he nearly passed away during COVID. What am I trying to say? We are selective when we talk about atrocities that Kenyans have faced at the hands of those who are president at a particular time. We are selective in who we choose to apportion the biggest blame for. If you are talking about corruption, there is no Kenyan government that hadn't been riddled or shaken by major corruption. None. None. We are selective.
You know what? Let's do a little bit of traffic. I'm looking at the roads of Nairobi, and this is what I am seeing right now. Ngong Road is bumper to bumper right now, especially that place for Junction Mall. If you're coming from Ngong, or if you're coming from the Lenana School, utapata traffic mingi sana hapo hivyo. But after that, everything opens up. Ngong Road is fairly looking good up until you get to Haile Selassie. Then that's when you meet the mother of all traffic as you're getting into the CBD. Dennis Pitt Road iko sawa, Oloitoktok Road kule Kikambala Road, Kitanga Road mko sawa kabisa. James Gishuru Road, if you're going to get to James Gishuru through Kingaro Road, looking very clean as you're heading over towards Waiyaki Way. Lakini kuna kasehemu segment tu kadogo ka James Gishuru. Where is this? As you're heading towards Kanjata Road, if you're coming from St. Mary's School Private Road, that area, Mzima Springs area nini hapo kuna ka traffic kidogo, si unaelewa. And then guys of St. Austin's parish in Msongari, there's traffic there as you're heading towards St. Mary's School. Now, Rapture Road is looking good. Muthaiga Road looking good. Waiyaki Way, no complaint whatsoever. I'm looking at, this is now where? Waiyaki Way, Red Hill Link Road, hiyo inakaa sawa kabisa, iko shwari. Watu wa Kuna Road mko sawa kabisa, and the entirety of Waiyaki Way basically is looking good at this particular hour. So that means also watu wa Lower Kabete, no complaints whatsoever. Heading over back to Mombasa Road. Mombasa Road is looking fairly clean, but I cannot say the same for, this is where? Oh yeah, I told you, Haile Selassie kwenye kubaya. But Mombasa Road looks quite good. Likoni Road kule kote kuko sawa kabisa as you're heading towards Imada Daima nini iko sawa. However, Airport North Road, today I am seeing literally maroon. So that means that road is completely jam-packed. But it's just the stretch between the junction heading towards or coming from Outer Ring Road, and then as you're heading towards Cabanas, hiyo ndio imeshikamana. Sijui mtatumia barabara gani, lakini poleni tena sana in advance. All right, let's leave Nairobi County and wait. Thika Super Highway iko wapi? Do I know my geography well? Thika Super Highway, acheni niwaambie ukweli, ile drama mko nayo pale Muthaiga Police Station, hiyo area yote iko bumper to bumper and it's stretching all the way back to KCA University. Then there's some reprieve until you go back towards where is this? Roysambu. Man, huko kumeshikana mbaya tena sana. It's like everyone has decided to leave their home, And then, of course, we're looking at Ruiru. That area is looking fairly clean at this particular hour. Let me fly all the way to Mombasa County and see what is ailing you as far as that area is concerned. Mombasa County ni kama hamna shida yoyote, apart from the usual places, pale Lights Kengeleni, alafu pale Mama Ngina Waterfront, hiyo barabara, of course, watu wanangojea kupanda ferry. Kule Kongowea Market naona pia ni kama kumeshikamana kidogo. Alafu kuna hapa ni wapi? Nyali Road iko sawa kabisa. Kwingine kote kuko sawa isipokuwa Ziwani pale Sega Road. Hapo zimeshikamana. Ukiona chochote barabarani nafaa kujua, basi longa nasi katika mitandao yetu @RadioGenKE across all of them. Traffic on Radio Generation. Let's check out the front page of the Nairobian. This is what it says. Governor empty seat and witchcraft whispers. This is County Assembly of Tana River. Wanauliza, is this a haunted HQ? For nearly a decade, the gates of Tana River's trade building have creaked open to quiet corridors and locked offices as Governor Dado Godana reportedly runs the county from his private residence amid swirling whispers of witchcraft. Is it faith? Is it fear, political strategy, or just coastal gossip gone wild? The Nairobian dives into the mystery of the empty office that has gripped Hola and reignited Kenya's long and easy dance between power and the supernatural. Yeah, trust the Nairobian for these kinds of headlines.
When they're sued, then we know they've touched a nerve.
But how you know, by the time you're suing someone for witchcraft, man, you have got to have some proper what is it called, evidence. You know, mulijuaje nimerogwa, nionyesheni evidence ya kwamba huko kuna urogi katika county ya Tana River. Super Cops, the rise and fall of iconic officers, they have documented that on pages 14 and 15. I can see, was it called Patrick Shaw?
Yes.
Namuona hapa katika front page. All right.
It's called Patrick Shaw.
Yes. Taifa Leo inasema hivi, takriban wa Kenya 400,000 ama 400,000 wanaoishi katika mataifa ya Mashariki ya Kati wajaa hofu ya kushambuliwa. Kwa kweli, takriban wa Kenya 400,000 kama hivyo nilivyofunzwa na mwalimu wangu wa Kiswahili. Wanasema masaibu ya Wakenya waliokwama vitani. Yesterday I saw a statement by the Iranian ambassador here in Kenya. And he said that Kenyans are fairly safe. However, he said that if Kenyans want to leave Iran for whatever reason, they have access to their embassy, the Kenyan embassy that is, in Iran, and they should get assistance from there. He actually said it's safe for you to move to the embassy and request for assistance. Wanasema Wakenya ni kati ya raia wa kigeni na wenyeji katika mataifa ya Mashariki ya Kati wasioruhusiwa kutoka majumbani mwao. Hata kurejea katika nchi zao hawawezi, kwani safari nyingi za ndege ni marufuku. Hofu ni tele kutokana na mashambulizi ya Iran dhidi ya kambi za jeshi za Amerika katika ukanda huo. Hayo yanajiri huku Ruto akionekana kuunga Amerika. Waweza soma hayo yote ukurasa wa 2, ukurasa wa 8 katika Taifa Leo. Mgogoro wa ndoa ya ODM UDA wa Chacha, kundi la waasi katika ushirikiano wa Ruto na ODM uvunjwe kwa kutotimiza ahadi. Hiyo waweza soma taarifa katika ukurasa wa 3. Urafiki tata wa Ngeno, na pale wanaonyeshana picha za viongozi watatu, mmoja akiwa Rais William Ruto, alafu aliyetuacha Johana Ngeno, alafu aliyekuwa naibu wa rais wa kitambo Rigathi Gachagua pia amepigwa picha pale. Wanaoita urafiki tata wa Ngeno. Pale juu wanasema koti yazima aliyekosa mchango wa WhatsApp. Koti yazima aliyekosa mchango wa WhatsApp. Anasema alishtaki kundi la kijamii katika WhatsApp kwa kutomchangia. Sasa sisi tusipokuchangia unatushtaki. Unafungua kikundi, unatoka pale ndani, unasema ninahitaji tuseme milioni 1, maybe nataka kufanya harusi ama ni upasuaji, alafu watu wakuchangii.
Alifanya nini? Aliwashtaki?
Alienda kotini akasema niliweka watu katika hiki kikundi na hakunichangia. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but
no, it is something that is actually, there's an element of humor to it, and you must not deny humor. Iko hivi, we do not know the pressure point this particular individual was enduring. And by the time somebody decides to take this matter to court, he must be truly aggrieved. What he's aggrieved about is what I don't understand.
Yes.
But he's aggrieved.
What he needs to know is that, you see all those people in that group that didn't changia for him, ajue tu if he had put say 100 people or 200 people, ajue tu these 200 people are not my friends.
Maybe not. Maybe they are. But the reality of the economic times that we're in, this isn't a myth. People don't have money.
It is true.
When I say people, I don't mean those who have money and keep having it. There's a group who, when we say
have
this,
money,
they have no idea what we're talking about, because then they have a lot of money.
Yes.
It's not those people I'm talking about. I'm talking about
Kenyans in
the
general.
regular citizen who works, earns money, has a business, knows what they make. One, the moment people have less disposable income, it means even those who have businesses will have a downturn in the money that they make.
True story.
So people don't have the money that they used to have, and so they have to be careful with what they have. It's really that simple.
Yes.
And so in where somebody could have given you 500,
yes,
they'll probably give you 100.
So koti ilizima ujamaa ikamwambia wewe bwana, we have bigger fish to fry. You're wasting the court's time. Go and figure out how you're going to make money.
You know, this freedom that we speak of even extends to the courts. Even the courts have freedom. Stop being stupid.
They actually can't tell you.
That is what they were telling him. Stop being stupid.
Your Honor, I put CT there in movie. I needed about 500,000. This guy's one movie gave me 50 bob.
The magistrate couldn't believe what he was hearing. He said, wait. I'm sure he called the guy.
Hey, read this. Are we seeing the same thing?
Okay. Is this guy okay?
Alright, ukurasa wa 13 ukielekea ukurasa wa 20, Real waweka ofa mezani kusajili Rodri. Pata hondo wa sport udaku ubashiri ratba na matokeo katika jarida bomba. Real Madrid jana wamecheza na timu inajulikana kama Getafe. Na
Getafe is which country?
Zote ziko La Liga kule Uspania.
Getafe.
Yes.
There's a team in Spain called Getafe.
Yes, Getafe. Me, I call it Getafe.
It's not a team in Africa.
No.
Tuendelea na story basi.
Walitandika and Real Madrid were at home. They were beaten like Burukenge.
They were beaten by Getafe?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
It was a disappointment. And
wait a moment.
They lost to
Real Madrid is this team that had these overtime people who you look at, you say, yes.
It has one of my favorite footballers. We're talking about Kylian Mbappe, akopale Real Madrid. They have got Trent Alexander-Arnold, akopale Vinicius Junior, akopale walitandikwa jana 0-1.
There's a guy used to call Zidane. He used to play for this team.
I can't remember.
We're talking about the people who played during the times when
kupenda mpira juzi.
Wewe unajua Mbappe na kadhalika.
Kina Kylian Mbappe ndio.
Sawa. Mimi najua kina Zidane.
Yes.
Okay?
Zidane
uniform yao ni nyeupe.
Yes, it is. They actually called Los Blancos, meaning the whites.
That team had some, oh God Almighty.
Yeah.
One
yesterday
sublime.
They were thrashed 0-1 by Getafe, and Getafe was playing away.
Do you have any idea about what it is that is called the psychology of the weaker team?
Okay, tell me about it.
Bro.
Yes.
When they meet a team that is well known, it is the finals for them.
Okay.
They play their hearts out.
Man, they beat this
because they know.
Yeah.
This is how we get known. We are the team who beat who? Real Madrid.
Yes.
Here. If they lose other matches against other teams that are as known as they are, this is Getafe, the other than Tegafe, okay? It doesn't matter. Yeah. Nobody knows, nobody cares except they are who? They are fans. But this one, see, we are talking about it in Kenya.
Yes, we are.
The whole world now
is talking
knows
about them.
Right.
We are on the Daily Nation front page. Why Ruto took sides on Iran war as Kenyans trapped in Middle East speak sides, out. Has he? Yes, he's siding with the US.
What did he say exactly?
So he said, what he said is not here. But he just said that, look, guys, we need to have a conversation. He just said, like, there could be an easier way of solving this issue. And he condemned the bombing in places like Kuwait, because Kuwait was also bombed. He akina Oman wako on high alert, anticipating.
Yani wameamua kwamba everybody who lives that part of the world must.
He didn't condemn the bombing of Iran. Basically, in his entire statement, at no point did he say.
You waited.
Sorry?
You waited for him to condemn and it didn't happen.
He didn't say that, guys, Bwana, America and Israel, Bana, what have you just done in Iran? He didn't say that. He just said Iran, actually, he condemned Iran for bombing akina Kuwait. He condemned Iran for bombing akina Qatar. He condemned Iran for bombing Dubai. But he didn't tell the US and Israel, Bwana, huyu ni mkulima mdogo, wacheni naye. Yeah. So why Ruto took sides on Iran war? You will get that
wait a moment.
In the inside.
When we say that Iran bombed these places, what were they bombing? Were they bombing military installations?
Yes.
American military installations, to be precise.
Yes, they were preempting. Those are preemptive strikes.
Yes. So they were bombing American military bases in these countries.
Lakini walibomba huko Kuwait. Na Kuwait ni neighbor tu hapo hivyo. Like they share a fence.
Yes, they do. But do they have an American military base in Kuwait? The answer is yes, they do.
Walituma makombora kule bana na kuambia watu kwa ndege, watu wenye walikuwa kwa ndege saa hizo mabomu yakitupwa, makombora yakitupwa. Guys were taking videos and they posted them everywhere on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, nini.
Let me tell you, when we first heard of this, we did mention here that those who subscribe to conspiracy theory are going to go absolutely crazy about this. And they have.
Yeah.
There was one particular clip I was listening to. According to this particular person, the reason why this is happening, and they say, just look at the timing.
Yeah.
It's according to them. There's a problem between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Okay?
Yes.
Sidio? Venezuela. Now this. He said, the thread that ties these things together are the Epstein files.
Yes.
He said, what?
Epstein files.
Hey. So I read and said, Epstein files. How? He said, okay. Prince Andrew is arrested. Bill Clinton testifies.
Yes.
His wife testifies.
Right.
Bill Gates testifies. Then says, now, all of a sudden, our attention has changed because
from Epstein
was everything. And now this is a conspiracy theory. And he says, but apart from that, Bill Gates, while we're all talking about these attacks, Bill Gates has gone and received something like 1.2 trillion contract from the government of the US. I said, Bill Gates contract to do what? Okay? But according to this conspiracy theorist, okay? So now, we've forgotten about the Epstein files. Okay? According to this conspiracy theorist, Prince Andrew has been set free. Okay? And nobody is talking about the Epstein files.
Yes, we are all talking about Iran, Khamenei.
Yes. And Donald Trump, who was mentioned so many times, you actually think Donald Trump is the alter name for Epstein, whatever Epstein's first name is.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Ndio huyo. Nikasema, hey, hawa jamaa wako. Then another one comes up and says, do you know what this thing is about?
What is it about?
It's about oil. I said, really? No, not about oil. It's about China and the oil that China buys.
From Iran.
Not just Iran, from Venezuela.
Yeah.
Now you see, now that the Americans control the oil in Venezuela, Chinese don't have access to it.
Yeah.
And I say, who says so?
The inflection in your voice is very sarcastic.
It's supposed to be. I'm glad it is working. I'm glad it is working. Yes. So, now, okay, everything is happening, not really happening for the reasons that you think is happening. You know, it is happening for all these other reasons.
Sunny, you want to tell me that they can just decide to kill an entire supreme leader just so that Epstein, we can forget about Jeffrey Epstein and his ilk?
These are the conspiracy theories who want to put the Jews in everything that happens on the planet.
Yeah.
They will find a thread that connects Jews to everything that happens. Okay, whether this is true or not, but they're saying it. Okay, that's why I said those who have a leaning towards conspiracy are going to twirl themselves into a complete tiz when it comes to what. And believe me, more and more of these people are coming. And you know what's happening?
What?
People are actually dying.
People are dying. Yeah, sure.
Okay, and the Middle East has suddenly become a hotspot for an impending third world war.
True.
That is not fiction. Okay.
Is actually, it could be a reality.
It is not
very
fiction.
soon.
It is not fiction. It is not fiction. Okay.
They're saying here on the front page of the Daily Nation that after President Ruto's apparent criticism of Tehran for targeting other countries, the Foreign Affairs Ministry has clarified that Kenya is opposed to the spread of violence beyond the main protagonists. Mimi hapa ningelikuwa tu president, ningesema tu publicly, what you guys are doing is wrong. Can you stop fighting each other? Sit down and talk. If it's about oil, discuss. If it's about trade, it's about China, discuss. Don't have to kill each other.
Bro, by the time we are speaking out, and we meaning the president speaking on our behalf, America had their claws into this system of ours a long time ago. Do you know how many presidents on this continent have actually ever been offered a state house visit? Meaning, umealikwa. Si umeenda kutembelea, si unga, those ones you can go. Hata kwende tu kuangalia US, uende Middle America, uende hiyo unaruhusiwa. State house wamekualika, it's a state visit.
White House.
Ngumu. William ameenda.
William ameketi katika kile kiti cha urais, kile cha Oval Office.
Let me tell you now, amebonga story na amealikwa.
Trump alimwambia keti hapa na akasema sawa my friend. Na picha zikapigwa.
Bro, it is not a small thing.
Not everyone sits on that seat.
No, of African leaders, it's not a small thing. So that one, they determined this is our guy.
Yeah.
And you see, once you are their guy,
it's over. It's about.
There are certain communications that you need. It's not. See, they've helped you and you need help.
Now they need help,
bro.
You're gonna come.
You're gonna have to reciprocate.
It's not even a request.
No, si hata unajua.
Unapigiangwa simu na kasekretari fulani. Unaambiwa your excellency, yes.
Inaanzaga hivyo.
Yeah, is this President William Ruto? Yes. Yeah, so now we needed to put out a statement condemning Iran and say that, you know, this.
No, umeandikiwa ka statement unaambia bro, so you memorize it.
Unaambiwa bwangalia WhatsApp. Last but not least, from Artur brothers to Sudan's RSF immigration boss in passport saga, Miss Evelyn Chelogut, the Director General of Immigration Services, by virtue of her post, faces scrutiny after reports that a Sudan parliamentary leader was given a Kenyan passport. Now, the case rekindles her past role in the issuance of work permits to notorious Armenian brothers. You remember Artur Sargassian and Artur Margarian?
Yes, I remember them very well.
So apparently alikuanga kwa hiyo drama. Anyway, uko na gazeti gani hapo City?
Mimi niko na The Standard. Bang in the middle of it. Wajua Standard don't waste time with small newses. If I may use the word newses. They get to the heart of the matter and they do one big news.
ASAP.
Adani knocking again All right? One of the stormiest issues that shook the Ruto administration in the aftermath of the Gen Z protest nearly 2 years ago was the plan to lease a key national asset, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, to controversial Indian billionaire Gautam Adani under the guise of upgrading it. Bro, from what I read of that agreement, I have never seen an agreement that did not favor Kenyans like that one. Aye! You know, there may have been things that were good about it. Huh?
Yeah.
But they never said. There may have been things about the lease that we need to understand. First of all, understanding just the lease and the type of lease. The government never said. They never explained. Now, when you don't explain, we will fill in the blanks for you. There's a quote by somebody called Oduapar. The current orders issued have perpetually limited my client, Kenya Airport Authority, and most especially Adani Group, since we intend to initiate a fresh process for the redevelopment of the airport. Nobody had a problem with the development of the airport. There was a Greenfields project before this one that was supposed to develop the airport. What was wrong with that particular project? We paid these people, you know, for the work they did. When you survey, you do what, you draw this, you have what you call a working drawing or a working plan. You are paid. So we paid, then now we are seeking to pay again. According to Tony Gashoka, what's clear is that Ruto's government is looking for any illegal path void of public participation. A controversy order as issued by the High Court is a 360-degree protection of JKIA from Adani and any other party from touching our airport. Actually, there needs to be a sober discussion about the issue of the airport. Let's start with, what does the airport need? When we say, and all this discussion around the airport, what are we seeking to do? When we say upgrade, what do we mean? This Greenfield project that was cancelled, what was it about? Let's understand it. The people must be censured. Anybody who's in government and claims that they are in communication, I honestly have no idea what these people do. Do you have an idea?
I have absolutely no idea.
Why are newspapers issuing these things and talking about them from the point of view of what they know and understand, and you do not hear the communication people in government seeking to explain this thing better for us? They simply don't bother.
Jana tulikuwa tunaongea na
Grace.
KFCB, Grace, who's the director at KFCB, na tukasema the same thing. Communication is poor coming
hopeless.
from government.
Poor.
Ni kumaanisha there's something
hopeless.
Okay.
And the governments get damned because it's people who are supposed to communicate, not spin, explain. This is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it.
These are the facts.
These are the facts.
Yes.
Okay?
And these are the myths that you have had.
Yes.
So we are here to demystify.
Yes. And look at our website on this and this and this. The details are provided.
Any more questions? There's an email, there's a number, there's a Twitter account.
Kwendeni muangalie tafadhali. And if there's an issue with that one, then come again, we'll have this discussion, we'll explain it to you.
Exactly.
What is so utterly difficult about that?
You remember I told you that this government has got the most tools as far as disseminating information is concerned.
And you are 100% right, man.
They can do podcasts if they want. We have folks in State House and other government agencies that can actually run these particular programs. I'm talking about Dennis Itumbi. I'm talking about Mohammed, who's a State House spokesperson.
Hussein.
Yes, Hussein Mohammed. Yes. Hussein Mohammed, spokesperson for State House. Like, they have a myriad of people that can actually run that communication program for them. Host a podcast, host a Twitter space. Like, just talk to people, my friend. Talk to people.
The Business Daily, have a minute. Iran war derails talks on 5.6 billion Kenyan tea deal. We are suffering from it immediately. 5.6 billion mingi. Negotiations sought to lift export blockade. Nairobi goes slow on fears of upsetting U.S. Gulf states. All right. Bank profits rise by 20% to hit 311 billion on lower costs. Okay? Kenya commercial banks grew their pre-tax profits by 20%. You know, this is the thing that I always find funny. Here we are stretching our necks to figure out what to do. The banks keep making money. Why do the banks keep making money? The government keeps borrowing from them. So what happens? They are always making money. The money that banks make should actually be from lending individuals so that the individuals can do what they need to do to grow their businesses, and in so doing, be part of the growth of the economy. But is that what happens?
No.
No, that is not what happens. MPs seek powers to inspect 80 million securitized revenues. The National Assembly wants powers to inspect the securitization of government revenue streams in the funding of key projects. I don't understand what they mean, but that's what the headline says. Shares trading costs to rise on higher CDSC fees plan. The cost of shares trading is set to rise from new proposal that lifts the Central Depository and Settlement Corporation CDSC levy.
Okay, are you done?
Yes, you have read it and you've understood.
Okay.
Yes.
Someone has attempted to answer our question. Remember the one that you asked earlier on about why people hate President Ruto specifically?
Please, I honestly want to hear.
All right, in 10 seconds I'll read it out. Eric Ninda amesema the higher the expectations you raise, the bigger the disappointment you ought to expect. Ruto did that, especially to mtu wa chini. I think that could be the genesis of hatred.
That man is so spot on. Disappointment is a factor of expectation.
Sawa.
Well said, Dinda.
It's 7 o'clock.
Radio generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. The High Court has temporarily stopped the plea taking of a doctor accused of improper diagnosis and giving medical without proper care. Last week, a Milimani court issued a warrant of arrest against Dr. Jane Njeri Kamau after she failed to appear in court to face the charges. She was expected to plead to charges of negligence and causing harm to a patient. However, when the case came up, the trial court was informed that Dr. Njeri had obtained orders from the High Court stopping the proceedings against her for now. Jubilee Party Deputy Leader Fred Matiang'i is urging young people to take advantage of their numbers and run for elective seats in the 2027 general election. Speaking in Samburu County during the official launch of the Jubilee Party Samburu branch office, Matiang'i said the youth have the power to shape the country's future. He also expressed confidence that the united opposition will remain strong and front one presidential candidate in 2027.
Tumeanza sasa muundo mpya na mpango mpya wa kuhakikisha kwamba vijana wote na viongozi wa vijana wanahusika katika masuala ya chama. Na naomba tafadhali vijana ambao wanataka kuhusika katika uchaguzi kuanzia mashinani, msiingie tu kwa wards, ingia kwa viti vya bunge, kwa senate, kwa kila mahali women rep, sababu sasa hiyo ndio Kenya mpya.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has traveled to New Delhi, India to attend the Raisina Dialogue, a major international conference focused on global politics and economic issues. Mudavadi, who also serves as the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, is expected to speak about Kenya's foreign policy and the country's economic priorities. According to a statement released on Monday, March 2nd, 2026, he will take part in the 3-day meeting from March 5th to March 7th. The government has unveiled a new master plan for Jomo Kenyatta International Airport aimed at expanding capacity and strengthening Kenya's position as a regional aviation hub. According to government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura, the JKIA master plan will include the construction of a new passenger terminal, development of a second runway, expansion of the airfield, and the establishment of an airport city. Construction is set to begin this year under full government oversight, as announced by President William Ruto.
The government is now advancing a sovereign, listen to this, a sovereign integrated JKA master plan The project includes the development of a new passenger terminal, construction of a second runway, expansion of the airfield, and the development of an airport city. Construction is scheduled to commence this year, as highlighted by His Excellency President William Ruto, under full government oversight. This strategic approach safeguards national interests, ensures value for money, and accelerates delivery.
The U.S. First Lady Melania Trump presided over United Nations Security Council meeting on children and education in conflict in New York on Monday. As the U.S. continues its military action in Iran, her remarks centered around the role of education for children in advancing tolerance and world peace. It is the first time the spouse of any world leader has presided over the meeting.
My heartfelt condolences to the families who have lost their heroes, who sacrificed their lives for freedom. Their bravery and dedication will always be remembered. I extend my earnest wishes for a swift and smooth recovery to all those who have been injured. You are in my thoughts and prayers during these challenging times. The U.S. stands with all of the children throughout the world.
And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning. I'm Winnie Maganga.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Radio Generation. Radio Generation assumes no responsibility or liability for the interviewee's views. This is Radio Generation. In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast, curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
Welcome back. This is Radio Generation. The time right now is 6 minutes past 7 o'clock. How are you doing? I like the comment that we read early on about, the disappointments that Kenyans might be facing. But most importantly, you know what? It's actually a reality that some of these things that we're currently experiencing is perhaps, or rather some of the things that we're seeing online as far as the president is concerned, is because of the expectations Kenyans had. And CT, you were saying that the audience, that is Eric Ninda, the person who wrote that particular comment, was spot on.
Disappointment is a factor of expectations. And it's simply stated, and it is simply actually very true.
Yes.
Why do you think that people get disappointed is the question. Because there is something they anticipate.
Yes.
It's something they expect.
True story.
And it is also true story that the bar was raised during the campaigns by this particular party that is now in power.
Yes.
And they said very many things. Many. And part of the angst, if I may call it that, is people feel, even those who didn't support this government, feel that they supported the government because based on these promises, isn't it?
True.
And the complementary feeling is that the government hasn't quite lived up to these promises.
But Omondi has also added his voice to this. He says, Mungala moving, the aircraft is Gulfstream, not Jetstream. Inile ndege ule jamaa alizunguka nayo dunia, All right, but Omondi, thank you for that. Amesema CT, Ruto is hated as much as his predecessors. We are no longer numb to corruption or rights violations. So he's saying that he's actually receiving the same amount of hate.
No, he's not.
Ni venye huyu sasa anaoneshwa more than his predecessors.
Actually, he's not. He's not. The social media explodes with hatred for this particular president. The other presidents were hated. Like, for instance, Uhuru Kenyatta was, during his last tenure, profoundly disliked and hated from his own base.
But you remember President Uhuru was never put in a coffin, for example, because we didn't have AI tools like we have them right now.
I agree.
Yeah, President Uhuru wasn't put in a turban like President Ruto is being put in a turban right now.
Let me put it to you this way. With every successive government, we've been practicing how to express our hate.
True story.
And this gentleman we have as president is facing the full brunt of it because we are fully grown now.
Nikweli.
So people can actually express their dislike in the most profound way possible.
This is Radio Generation, the home of hard truths and bold insights. And indeed, we are in that second hour. We want to have a very interesting conversation around that. You remember last week there's a student who was expelled, or rather sent home. I don't know whether she was fully expelled, but she was sent home for wearing a hijab.
What's a hijab?
Hijab tutaambua tu saizi ama tutaielewa tu saizi shortly. So the question is around that, and how education and religious rights actually coexist and interact. And to help us have this conversation is two advocates of the High Court, Abdul Nasir and Rajab Shaban. Gentlemen, a very good morning to you and welcome to Radio Generation.
Good morning, Mr. Mungala and City Muga.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I'll start with you, Abdul, before we get to Rajab. You're an advocate of the High Court.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that particular issue? I had an argument with someone over the same, because I was like, but what's the big deal? I think the student was actually in full school uniform. The only thing that she did was cover her head and her hair with what I would consider a hijab. Yeah.
My first reaction to that, as I view it as from the public angle, I believe education institutions should have the accommodation policy of every person with different religious diversity. And as we continue the conversation, we'll address you on a number of constitutional issues, different case laws that have already been litigated to the Supreme Court of Kenya on this issue of hijab.
They got to the Supreme Court?
Yes.
Okay.
It did. It did. In fact, these are matters that began long before we had this constitution.
Yes.
Once upon a time, I was a high school teacher, and I taught in a girls' school called Star of the Sea.
Yes. Kule Mombasa.
Kule Mombasa.
All right.
Very popular girls' school.
I actually know it.
Yes. The foundation was Catholic. And the school had the most diverse mixture of people of different faiths. Then a time came when there's a group of students who belong to the Ishnashiri group.
Okay.
They're fundamentalists. Okay. They wanted to wear the hijabs to school. And I recall there was a headmistress at the time. She was called Mrs. Rose Wasuna.
Yes.
She was of a contrary view. But those are not the only Muslims. They just belong to a certain sect.
Yes.
Okay? Now, she was hard and fast about the non-wearing of the hijab. It became an issue. Parents came in. It was discussed. And some accommodation was made. Okay? However, these girls decided, or rather their community, they were going to set up their own school. And they set up what you now know as Jeffries. Okay? So there, it was people wore that particular garment that you were referring to. By the way, there are very many versions of it. But let's just call it a hijab for purpose of our discussion. Okay? Now, when we were having discussions about our constitution, there are people who belong to the Christian faith who were opposed to some of these issues very strongly. The reference point became an issue in the South African new constitution regarding the right of the minority whites.
Okay.
And their right to secede should they seek to secede. It became a very heated discussion. I'm drawing parallels here. And wiser, cooler heads said, let this be an accommodation in our constitution so that if they wish to secede, they can secede. They have never seceded.
Okay.
It is the same accommodation that was made in our constitution. It was allowed for. But fundamental Christians, I'm a Christian, I'm not a fundamentalist.
Yes.
Were opposed. And I kept asking, it's a pity they don't understand what they're opposing. Because if they did, they'd be a lot more accommodating. But that's an overview from a layman
perspective
who read this thing. But I gave an example of what I saw.
Yeah.
Because what has anything that somebody puts on that isn't breaking any so-called dress code but accommodating their faith, why should it be an issue?
Actually, my next question to Rajab here would be, perhaps, what is the significance of that attire to Muslims?
Okay. Good morning to all the listeners.
Morning to you too.
Yes.
Good morning to us also.
Oh, good morning to you too.
Hata si tuko hapa, brother. Yes.
Mr. City.
Karibu sana. Yes.
Well, you see, the hijab itself, okay? Yes. Actually, the hijab is a divine, commitment in terms of piety. We're also looking at it from an angle of modesty, okay? Because the hijab's main essence is to preserve the chastity and the modesty of women. And the same cuts across to even men. You see, the hijab is not only the attire, but also the code of conduct which a man and a woman should have or should behave, especially in front of the society and even in his own secluded place. Okay? Now, the hijab has its own rules. It should not be tight, it should not be loose, it shouldn't be transparent, it should be of thick fabric, okay? Does not contain a lot of perfume, contrary to what we see nowadays and what women are actually doing. And I don't need to specifically pinpoint people. but if you look at those rules, these are things which I think, and it goes down to people now going deeper in terms of research, understanding the religion, understanding the scriptures, and going back to history. Because I believe for you to be able to debate on an issue, be it religious or non-religious, you need to get down to the facts. How did it come about? Why was it brought about? Okay? To who or to which society was it being addressed to? And I think ignorance is what is causing all these debates here and there. Okay?
Yeah.
So this would just summarize my brief
Are the
definition.
debates useful in any way?
Actually, they're useful. You see, because from debates, people get to research. From debates, people get to know. From debates, people get to know who is actually right and who is actually wrong. But the bottom line is they help to bring light issues which are actually hidden in terms of general public.
Yeah.
Okay? Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, and from his explanation there, then this is actually something that is very significant to someone who's practicing rather the Islamic faith. So for this particular student, for example, from last week, her being denied that right to wear that attire, what did it mean, or what does it mean for her as a practicing faithful?
Of course, number one, from a society perspective, I consider the student as a minor. She's underage. And look at the frustrations that, even look at the TV footage.
Yes.
That she was making the explanation on how all this accrued to be. Imagine being admitted in a public school and the principal assures you, or the staff, teaching staff there, that there's no problem absolutely with wearing the hijab.
Yeah.
Then 1 month later, there is an organic way of events that are happening that are leading to your frustrations. And to make a point, Mr. Mungala,
yes,
and City, the topic is expulsion of this student. Some of us are privileged to sit in board of trustees in education centers.
Right.
What is an expulsion? From the normal explanation of an expulsion, you must have an indisciplinary issue before the board of management. The board suspends you. Maybe you are given another suspension. Then now the board says, we are tired with you, go home and find somewhere else to study.
Right.
But this is a student who was just simply abiding by the constitutional obligations. Look at the preamble of the Constitution. We are proud as Kenyans to adopt this Constitution that reflects on cultural diversity, on religious diversity. And Article 32 of our Constitution cannot be read in isolation on this one.
Okay.
Because once you subscribe to a certain religion, how many of us, maybe in secrecy, have raised issues against some denominations, and you believe they are not doing the right thing? But on the constitutional platform, the aspect of equality cannot be gainsaid. And this is why I have an issue with something to do with policy framework in this country. Let us have an accorded policy whereby we know that, even in the matter that I was addressing, which is very important,
right,
the Fugicha case. This Fugicha case, in summary, it started at Isiolo, in Isiolo County. There is a school called St. Paul's Kiwanjani,
okay,
whereby a number of students, Muslim students, were denied this dress code, the hijab.
Yes.
There was a lot of pressure from the local official, that is the deputy governor of Isiolo County, as recorded in the court proceedings. So when this matter went to the High Court, Mr. Fugicha, who was representing at least 3 of his daughters were in the school, the High Court, in a clear explanation, there was a big legal battle. Although the High Court disagreed, they were just saying that if you allow Muslim students to wear hijab, we are going to elevate them to a certain level and giving a preferential treatment to the others. Which, in my honest view, that was a wrong decision made on the standpoint. The question is, does this institution have the accommodation policy reflecting the Constitution? Remember, City, you are a trained teacher, as you said.
Absolutely so.
Yes. And as a teacher, you have a constraint of students, 40 of them. There are these students who are extremely on the higher side. There are these students who need a lot of effort to come to that basis. As a teacher, you cannot exclude these 13 students out of the 30 just because they need to put more effort to come to your platform. So in this aspect, the hijab remains a sacrosanct veil, as my good brother said, and we must, as a country, have some sensitivity to these issues, because these are sensitive issues.
Yes.
Have
we was the student actually expelled completely in Akambiwa? Because I remember there was a case, and I remember the PS, that is Professor Bitok, appeared before a parliamentary committee and said that he will ensure that the child has gone back to school. So I don't know, has the child gone back to school?
I'm not aware of that, because I had the opportunity to speak to the Guardian.
All right.
And these are issues that are going to be subject to another course of action for now. Yeah, but the girl is not yet reinstated in the school.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, my second question then would be actually to you, Rajab.
Yes.
If the school, for example, has school regulations that say that in this school we will not allow hijabs or whatever, does it mean that before I am admitted as a student, I need to be aware of those rules and therefore I have to adhere to those rules? Or will I force my way through and say, you know what, I don't care about these rules, I will still wear my hijab?
Okay. Well, to be quite honest, I think rules are meant to be there. And we have what is known that people need to abide by the rules and regulations, okay? But at the same time, when you're framing your rules and regulations, we have what is known as the Constitution of Kenya, which is now the superior law in this country, okay? And if your rules and regulations are contrary to what the Constitution of Kenya is saying, then I believe your rules are rendered negatory, okay? And for one to be able to join the school, I think even the board of management and the board of governance of the school and all the directors, I think for you, when you're coming up with all these rules, you need to be accommodating in terms of looking at the diversity in terms of the students who are being enrolled in your school. Now, when you're setting out these regulations, you need to consider the best interest of this child, okay? Because this child is going to be there for a certain period of time. And I believe once you allow the student to coexist with the other students, it actually fosters diversity, it fosters peace, it fosters love, it fosters a deeper understanding of each other's religions and sects. Okay? So imagine students who are in school and they know that X is not even allowed to be part of us. Automatically this affects the children psychologically. And if you look at the effect in the long run, when people are growing up and people are going to be in these institutions, you have CEOs, you have managers who are going to be in companies. So if they know that you are not even allowed to be in school with that uniform, then I do not need to see you in my company. So there is a long-term effect which we are trying to ignore. And I believe for us who are looking at this from a deep perspective, then we need to be able to bring up a society which will peacefully coexist.
Yes.
Because as of now, we have members of parliament, we have directors, we have CEOs in major companies who are doing very well because they are coexisting, irrespective of their religion. And that's what makes us good citizens.
Why do you think that this intolerance exists? Because it's intolerance.
Well, I normally just refer it back to ignorance.
Well, partly yes and partly no.
Yes.
The one of the things about religious faiths exactly, there is an exclusivity clause that isn't written anywhere but it gives people who wish to interpret it as one faith being superior to another.
Yes.
And so adherents of one faith then consider themselves to be superior to the other.
Yes.
And because of this, there's a feeling that they must correct the others who don't seem to understand what the true faith is.
Yes.
And intolerance is there manifested because you fail to understand that other people probably have a similar faith and belief to yours.
Yes.
And that what you think is exactly what they think. Now, how do you find a common ground where people understand that, you should enjoy the right you have to believe what you want to believe? And then there's the issue of coexistence.
Yes.
Now, it's partly a factor of exposure, depending on how you've grown up. It's also a factor of the extremity of what it is that you consider to be your faith. And every faith has extremists. Every.
Definitely.
People who do not accommodate any coexistence, people who do not want to hear of anything being other than what it is they believe. But you introduce the subject well by referring to the Constitution. How can a school in the country of Kenya, a public school, have rules that go contrary to the Constitution?
Yes, you see, the issue, one thing I need to add some meat to the discussion is the issue of the admission letter. An admission letter is the basic contract between a parent through the minor through the parent and the school. Sometimes, let us be real.
Yeah.
Sometimes just because the school is so privileged, it's a national school, you just quickly and add your signature as a parent. But deep down, if you look into these issues, in fact, there are so many schools, by the way, that continue with this practice of discriminating students, especially the hijab and other maybe denominations. But at the end of the day, the issue of you see, like the Fugicha case, the issue of the dress code.
Yeah.
So maybe a question would pose to Kenyans today morning is, how does a dress code affect the institution? What they are basically saying is, this is our rules. Please oblige with these rules. But again, let us come back to what, because the Basic Education Act simply also illustrates that if you are a sponsor of the school, or because in the Fugicha case, the school was St. Paul's Kiwanjani, but the sponsor of the school was the Kenya Methodist Church. When they came on board and said that this is our rules, please respect them. But look at the constituency around the county of Isiolo. You'd say majority are Muslims there.
They are.
And look at a parent whereby there's a religious clause that says this is something is mandatory for our Muslim or for Muslim girls to wear it. Then in this context, how do we draw between the rules that you are drawing as a school, as an institute, and the Constitution? At the end of the day, the supremacy of the Constitution it will always remain constant. So any board of management, you have to be a subservient of the Constitution of Kenya. Yes.
Wait, is there anything that governs how schools come up with their own rules governing themselves?
It starts with the Ministry of Education. It's not so much schools.
Yeah.
But Ministry of Education. And the purpose of the school rules is to create uniformity. Okay? But there's a problem, and this is a Christian bias, because the vast majority of national schools, in fact, all the national schools we've had in this country had a Christian basis, irrespective of where they were, whether it was Garbatula, which is in a predominantly Muslim area. Okay? This discussion, if I were to continue with it, leads to the marginalization of the northern part of the country. That's not our topic today.
But is it a factor, though?
Of course it is a factor, because these schools, many of them were started by certain Christian denominations. You'll find they're Catholics, they're Methodists, they're Protestants, or they're Anglicans, they're all these people, Presbyterians, they're all these individuals who began. It depends on where the missionaries went. Now, the understanding of those who were inducted into the Christian faith then did not include accommodating the Muslim faith. The Hindus, I don't mention because they're a small minority, nobody actually ever considers them in these discussions. And they also do not make a very strong stand on whatever it is that they believe. So the likelihood of there being a conflict doesn't arise. The 2010 Constitution understood that conflicts do arise over such issues, and so they addressed it. They did not leave it. As I said, believe me, there were very heated discussions about this particular matter. Okay? But there is an intolerance that comes from, again, as you correctly put it, ignorance. But there's an intolerance that comes out of, now this is now the poison chalice in faith. Logic out of the window, you believe. Now, the moment that's the premise of your functioning, then it is very, very difficult to have a logical discussion like the one we're having. But let it be said.
Yes.
Muslims who are men don't have this problem because the dress code will be similar to everybody else in that particular school.
Every other man or other boy.
Yes. The problem was prayers. And very many of these schools over time realized, even before the 2010 Constitution, you needed to dedicate a room for Muslims to go and pray. And they accommodated it. Some went as far, national schools, of even building a mosque because they understood it was important. But now this matter of dress. The question that I ask is, what really is the problem? Because this difference that they say is actually useful in understanding the concept of accommodation. The moment someone is different, you then have an opportunity to ask, so why do you dress this way? What is it that makes you do this? Why do you believe the way you do? It is an opportunity to know and understand something that you didn't previously understand. If you do not accommodate that difference, then you actually put a great full stop to the process of learning. People who grew up in Mombasa, like myself, do not have this problem because we were socialized and it's something you lived with on a daily basis. So there's nothing odd to you about it. Like during this holy month of Ramadan, nothing odd about it at all because you grew up knowing, understanding it. But when you're fundamentalists from both sides,
yes,
then you have a clash. Because they're Christian fundamentalists, they're Muslim fundamentalists.
For example, when the school said, and this is for you, Rajab, when the school said that having this girl dress in this way, it will put her in a higher place than other students. What exactly did they mean? What's the meaning of that?
Well, you see, like I said, from the word go, you see, ignorance is a disease. And it needs to be cured at all costs.
Okay.
And that is what I normally tell my peers every day. Whenever we sit, like, you cannot come to a discussion when you're very ignorant. And allow me to say this. One of my good teachers, I remember back in school, he used to tell me that you see, don't ever argue. And I'm not referring to anyone. But this is just but a clause.
Okay.
That don't ever argue with a foolish person. Or rather, that he used to say a stupid person. But let me just leave it at foolish. Because this person will drag you to his level of foolishness and then beat you with experience. So you can imagine.
Yeah.
So it always cuts down to you familiarizing yourself with the scripts. I remember back in school, and I was in one of these good schools, and one of the senior most directors was an archbishop. A senior bishop in that country. I will not name the place because the school didn't pay me to advertise, rather. So we used to sing the grace during parade, okay? But they also had a certain place dedicated for Muslims to pray. And in fact, the principal, who was also a pastor, you can imagine, would force Muslim students to go for Friday prayers. And if you did not go for Friday prayers, you would miss games. So you can imagine the beauty in coexistence. Now, the fear, which I believe would be there, like what Siti has said, is, students will start questioning, why is so-and-so not in the same attire as we are? So this forces you to be inquisitive. So you'd ask your fellow student, why are you this way? And tell them, I'm this way because of Islam. I'm this way because my religion tells me to be this way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I feel like there's that fear, or they somehow look at it from a threat point of view or perspective, because they fear if they are to know how the issue of hijab came about, what it protects, what it symbolizes, then I believe we might have a certain majority that would be swayed towards the other angle. But I feel like everyone has a freedom of choice. Okay, and one thing I love about the religion that we practice, because even in Islamic states,
yes,
we are actually told to respect other religions. Okay, even to a point whereby we are supposed to treat them as if you treat your family member, as if you treat your brother. Because today, where we live in a society, even the colleagues that we work with, okay, some are not Muslims, some don't even practice any religion, but we beautifully coexist amongst ourselves.
True.
And you see, when you bring about the issue of religion, you have to be very cautious. First of all, it would be so wrong for someone to come up and speak about an issue of religion when you have limited knowledge on that particular religion. And that's why we see nowadays we have the issue of YouTube. We have the social media platforms whereby they normally give rewards in terms of monetary tokens and all this for views and all. So you'd find that people would pop up from anywhere, give very dissenting opinions contrary to what the religion says,
yes,
only to get views and be paid. And this one actually sways a vast majority. And I believe education is a very strong pillar in terms of foundation of a child and even the society. And even for all of us who are seated in this room, right now we are having this conversation beautifully because we are not ignorant. We are aware of our surroundings, we are aware of our scripts, we are aware of the different religions and even the state functions which you're having in this country. If you're to take a good look, and I think you need to borrow a leaf from this. Normally, in state functions, you see that we'd find a bishop or a Maasai would lead the prayers, and then a Muslim would lead the prayer. This shows something. It tells across the whole country itself that the citizens of this country are free to practice whatever religion of their choice. And I think for the school, this is just but an advice.
Right.
I don't think it actually, negatively impacts the school and the beliefs and
of the other students.
Of the other students.
Yes.
Because they came in knowing what type of faith they're actually subscribing to.
I'm actually looking at it, Nasir, as a missed opportunity for the school to actually, number one, like Rajab said here, accommodate, teach the students accommodation, teach the students, how to coexist, because a learning institution is a place whereby we go and nurture so that in future we can become better persons, right? Not just acquire education. So I'm looking at this as a missed opportunity for the school to actually demonstrate that, and also they could have even allowed this young girl to just explain to her, classmates and schoolmates, like, look, guys, the reason I am wearing like this is because of A, B, C, D. That one, for me, is one of the biggest losses that particular school has faced. There's a time I remember a couple of years ago, a child was kicked out of school sababu alienda shule na madredi. Alikuwa ameshuka dreadlocks and then akafukuzwa. Now they went to court, and actually I think the family won that case. Why? Because they said that they practice Rastafarianism, which allows them to have that kind of hairstyle. And this child was admitted back to school, and I think they actually compensated for that particular situation, because they explained very well, like, look, sisi ni Rastafarians, our faith subscribes to that kind of hairstyle, and actually it is the same way a hijab is very important for women in Islam. Hii pia kwetu wanaume lazima tukwe tumeke hiyo kitu, and they won that case.
Actually, let me bring this thing to perhaps a forum that we easily understand politics. There is a narrative that I've heard spread, and it's couched as political, but yet it isn't. People referring to individuals from northeastern province with reference to them wanting to take over. It's a narrative I've heard very, very many times. And the question I ask is, what do you mean take over? Because the people who are predominantly in that area are Somalis. Why? When I look at that issue, the thing that I see is not even a religious one. It's a commercial problem. Because you have a community of people who, over a very short period of time, have moved from being camel herders and people who are deprived of certain basics that other parts of the country have, and they become, one, commercial giants literally, They are businessmen and women in every part of this particular country, and they've entered almost every sector. So when I hear the complaints, I used to marvel, where do these people look at the census numbers and ask, how do you need to begin populating your own community to the point where you become a dominant community? Now, part of our politics has always been this. You suppress numbers that are derived from the census, and that's why some census reports never even get publicized, because the census is just a census. They just count and they tell you, and some people figure, we don't really want these numbers to come out there, so you never get to hear of them. There is an ambivalence, that is, if I'm being polite, which essentially is double standards that people use. And the double standards arise from a feeling, the feeling of superiority that the faith brings. Commercial interests do the same. So people think that they themselves are the ones who are entitled to being in certain positions and others are not. So when others rise to that position, they are fought. And since we're in the information age, they are fought with misinformation, disinformation, and pure, absolute, and diluted propaganda. That is what often happens. But it will be looked at as religious. And yet, because people who are intolerant have also this understanding that the intolerance justifies their feeling of superiority, you can't be superior with somebody who is not inferior. And when you talk about inferiority, then we introduce a concept that we must look at when we look at our politics. It's called place. People determine the place you should be in. And it's like it's ring fence, and you should not move outside that place that has been designated for you. It's a class problem. But it is politically instigated and fueled, and then it is practiced, but it is looked at as religious intolerance, because you're looking at this person as a lesser person than you. And so what you have is better, so why must you accommodate what they have? This is not something that I have invented. This is something that very many people have used to justify what they do. What do you think the people who are in Israel and the Jews, what do you think they do to justify the atrocities they commit in Gaza? They're superior, first of all, and these individuals have to be lesser beings. The atrocities that we speak of that was meted on the Jews by the Germans, the atrocities that are committed in Rwanda, what do you think it does? You bring the other human beings to a point of inferiority. In America, the Africans were considered to be three-quarter human beings. So you use, yes, they were considered to be three-quarter human beings.
Okay.
Essentially,
the other quarter was what? Baboon?
Definitely, yes.
Okay.
Or some other primate. But if you look at the thinking that allows for this intolerance, the concept of your faith, your belief, and you being superior is always there. It is couched because of all these modern understandings of law, but that's what it is. But since you believe it, it allows you to treat somebody else in an unjust manner. And it is something that very many people propagate. So when we look at these double standards that we have, okay, you will be told the uniform is blue. The only way it becomes just one hue of blue is you buy it from a particular shop. Then raise the question, okay, who owns that shop? I mean, why can't I buy the material and have my cousin who is a seamstress sew it for me? You have to understand some of these issues from a much broader perspective, because when it manifests in a school, those young children, those are not their views, those are their parents' views.
Yeah. So, yeah, according to this news story here, we can see that the student actually dropped out of that hijab situation. So now, going forward, what happens now? What do we do?
Yeah, there are many there are many forums that the student can through the guardian can use to enforce her rights. One of it is going to court through a constitutional petition, because whether the student relocated to another school, but we should not leave the scene unaccounted for, meaning the school has performed its unpopular take of these students' frustration to drop out of school. This is a student who had ambitions, like many of us many years ago, and to this point that now I want to readdress the issue of lesser human beings by CT. The aspect of human dignity, ile kwa Kiswahili tunasema utu wa binadamu. Because as a human being, there is something that is innate. It's so inside that we cannot see it, but forms the human structure. For you to be respected, for you to be not to be discriminated, for you not to be isolated, just because even in our constitution, Article 27 on the issue of discrimination, it's so clear that we cannot discriminate people on religious grounds and other grounds. So for that, the student through the guardian can go to the High Court to reinstate to address the issue of violation, because they already violation of constitutional rights, including the issue of discrimination is already discriminated. What you are just trying to, I'm just thinking of this student in a very, very deep insight. Look at her life after 6 years, when she's going to be employed, she's going to be a very good professional in a certain sector.
Yes.
Remembering the trauma, the psychological trauma that she went through. You see, in such issues, we look at the issue of psychosocial, psychological support, because even if you play that video,
yes,
she addresses issues. It's broader to a manner that even fellow students,
yes,
were starting to mock me just because I was at the epicenter of this scene, which I did not intend to have it. And you look at the issue of the communication between the mother and the school that give me an assurance that hijab is allowed in this school. Then a month later, you are put in a different angle that you now think, am I a lesser human being than other students? Or just because I came to the platform and regarded my religious right through Article 32 of the Constitution. Yes.
Rajab, repercussions for the school if at all this goes the way Nasir is putting it?
Well, first of all, let's look at damages. Okay? And what the school is trying to ignore here, we have what is known as, the image of the school.
Yeah.
Okay? It's somehow tarnished. And I think also as a school, there's also a business perspective, which is hidden. And I think as a marketing strategy, you can imagine if you are to allow such kind of students, then definitely people would be looking forward to coming to your school.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, when your name is tarnished, people would try to even avoid that school. And also we have, the court might also force them to actually adjust some of their regulations, if the proper channels are followed. And you see, through a petition, when you petition your case, you argue your case, and eventually you win your arguments.
Yes.
The court will now force the school to take, measures in which now that they can be more accommodative for other students. And you see, it is a loss at the end of the day, and a win to the general public.
Yeah.
Because when you're looking at a child, we're looking at the best interest of a child. As a school, you need to consider this first. Let's just remove that ego play that might be there, and then look at it from a parental view.
Yes.
If this was my child, how would I feel? Sometimes it's very important to actually put yourself in someone else's shoes, so that you see whatever action I'm trying to take. Okay, whatever thing I'm trying to enforce, whatever rule, regulation, name it, how is it going to affect my child in the long run? Because if you have a child who has performed well, has gotten a scholarship to attend a certain institution, and this is a relief for you as a parent. So your child goes to that school, your child goes to that university, and immediately you're told, you know what, we're not going to allow this person simply because of 1, 2, 3. Then you'd also come back and start lamenting that my constitutional rights for the child have been violated as a Kenyan citizen, blah blah blah. So there are more repercussions which I think the school needs to sit down and look at it from a very a serious point of view, so as to really accommodate further students who are going to be there. And also it actually shows that there's beauty in understanding, there's beauty in accommodation, there's beauty in diversity. And I think once we really, settle this issue, and we need to settle it once and for all.
Yeah.
And I would actually want to refer you to one circular which was done by the PS then. This was on 4th March 2022.
Okay.
And actually he addressed the issues of violations of children's rights in school. And he talked about the issue of forcing children not to wear hijab. He also talked about the issue of forcing down children to really do the IRE, CRE, and the Hindu religious education. It also talked about the issue of now providing spaces for children to actually, practice their faith in terms of prayers and all that. It also talked about issues of preventing students from actually practicing their faith freely in school. And you see, if the ministry itself is accommodating, if the country in its own constitution is accommodating, then why not you? Okay? So I think that rigidness in terms of allowing for that scope of amendment of regulation and rules, it will not hurt anyone.
Yeah.
It will not affect anyone. And if you're more open-minded, then I believe there will be beauty in that.
There's a comment underneath that video by Ebru TV, and this is what the comment by Anthony Machoyo.
Yes.
And I'm actually reading it so that you can help us verify this. According to Anthony, anasema in a 2019 ruling, the Kenya Supreme Court, alafu akaweka into brackets 4-1 majority. Key details of the Kenya Supreme Court hijab ruling. The ruling of 2019, the Supreme Court quashed a 2016 Court of Appeal decision that had found it discriminatory for schools to bar Muslim students from wearing the hijab and white trousers. School autonomy. The ruling established that school administrations, including church-sponsored schools, have the right to determine their own uniforms. And the context is the case originated from a 2016 ban on hijab wearing at a Methodist-sponsored school, which was initially deemed discriminatory before the Supreme Court reversed it. Now, the controversy, the decision was described by some as retrogressive and Islamophobic by Muslim leaders, and it led to ongoing disputes in schools. Is this the case you are referring to?
Yes. In fact, I have the judgment and the dissenting opinion of the Supreme Court. First, as a practitioner, let me make this stand very clearly. The Supreme Court got it wrong on this Fugicha case. If you look at the dissenting opinion by Professor J.B. Ojwang, retired judge, the weighty aspect that the good professor and the learned judge addressed was the issue of the social surrounding. Kenya as a multi-social society, multi-religious society, we must address these things in harmony. In fact, the Supreme Court, what happened was a technical issue on a cross petition that was filed by the interested party, Mohammed Fugicha. The Supreme Court went and underlined these issues of technicalities. Remember the cause of justice throughout the High Court in Meru, to the Court of Appeal in Meru. In fact, in the Court of Appeal, 3 judges unanimously deviated from the High Court's ruling and said that we must entrench Article 32 in our surrounding, in our institution. The issue of the dress code, there is no justification whatsoever that allowing Muslim girls in school to wear hijab will discriminate against others who don't prescribe to the same faith. And J.B. Ojwang even made recommendations that the ministry could take over in terms of ratifying a policy. You see, Mr. Mungala, one thing we must disagree. Personally, from a practice perspective, we must have a codified policy. And this is the right forum, actually, to address the CS of education and the entire team that leads the national outlook in terms of education. Let the CS, through this issue that arose in Luak School in Siaya, bring on board all county directors. Let them have a sit down. Together, they can also be joined by the Interfaith Council there, because these issues are sensitive. We do not want just an official from the ministry to say the student should go back to school. Let us have a codified policy that this is going to address the issue of multi-religious, the issues to do with the hijab. Not only the hijab, even there are communities who wear headgears, the Akorino community. Let everyone be accommodated within that framework. Yes. So for us to have a closure on this debate forever.
You know, you actually brought in a very simple issue. I went to a primary school that was predominantly Asian. The Sikhs in that community, when they were young, didn't wear turban until they got to a certain age. But their long hair was always, they kept their hair long.
Yes.
It's a religious requirement. And they tied a knot. When they grew a little older, they wore a turban. It never raised an issue. You see, the intolerance that I'm speaking of is what must be addressed. Because it colors the conversation completely. And then we start discussing things which have nothing to do with what is at hand. The intolerance that is brought about by people thinking that their faith is superior to another. And therefore justifying whatever action they take. And feeling that they are righteous in taking certain steps.
Yes.
See, when you have a lame duck Ministry of Education that does not wish to address issues correctly, the issues regarding the laws and the 2010 Constitution ought to be in the curriculum that would-be teachers are taught, so you know. A thorny issue like this one is something that they should. There are bodies within this country, and you've mentioned, well, the
Religious Council.
Yes. What do you think they exist for? When you talk about public participation, it doesn't mean transmit the communication, the entirety of the country. Public is these people are representative of the public. Let them lend their voice to this matter. They would know what to do. That's why we created them. You see, when people don't want to address issues, there is called the term kicking the can down the road. Here it is, it needs to be addressed. Boop.
Wacha mwingine address.
Yeah, wacha mtutu arudi vipi. What will have changed?
So according to the producer, she's telling us that the girl was allowed back to school after the ministry intervened. However, here we have a viewer who goes by the name of Majok Anasema. Point of correction: the girl was not expelled. The parent chose to withdraw her from the school since she couldn't cope with the pressure. All right. Yeah. So we'll get to the bottom of that particular situation. However, if she chose to drop out of school because of pressure, and actually I think Nasir said that inafika mahali you're being bullied by your
when you say bullied, you don't get it. You know the mental anguish and torture that child had to go through. Did you have any idea? You have been set apart in the most discriminatory way possible. You've been singled out as not being different is okay, as being odd to the point of that odd being negative. Bro, the word pressure doesn't even begin to describe what that child went through. It doesn't. So how exactly do you rectify that? By telling someone to go back to school? You haven't addressed what brought about the problem.
Yes.
You're dealing with the symptoms.
And I think the bigger nini here is on the principal of that school as well, the head teacher. The biggest responsibility of, if at all she's gone back to the same school, of reintegrating this girl back to school is on her. Because now she has got to protect this girl. Yeah.
In 1929, we had a problem in central Kenya. The people who came and brought the so-called Christian faith, they were insisting that certain cultural practices should not be adhered to. It began a move of independent schools. By 1939, there were 6 independent schools in central Kenya.
Yes.
They told you na mambo yenu ka. This same issue that I spoke of, which happened in the 1980s, there was then a proliferation of schools that were predominantly Muslims. You have Sheikh Khalifa, you have what? I'm talking about the Mombasa area. Some of these things are often, solutions often come out of a situation such as this one. Because you're forced to ask the hard questions. And then you're forced to ask, how do we address this particular issue? Because if you're going to be discriminated against in a school that is supposed to accommodate everybody, the next thing people think of, why don't we just start our own school? Because this one is not making sense. And that schools were started. It means the Ministry of Education recognized and understood that it was important for such schools to exist.
Yes.
But what you will find is that all these schools accommodate other people who don't subscribe to that faith as well. So what am I saying? Who are the people who encourage this intolerance? Because it's encouraged. Who are the people who feel it is okay for people to be intolerant, especially in schools, where we are supposed to be nurturing and creating young minds? The ministry, lame duck Ministry of Education, and by the way, this is the politest I can call them. These are issues they should have been on top of, and yet they're not.
I mean, it's been years. We've been having similar stories just springing up from all these different places. And you wonder, what is so simple about just sitting down and deciding that, guys, hijab si big deal, bwana. we are done with that story. It doesn't matter which school it is, whether you're a faith-based, whether you're private, whether you're public. These are the rules. If you have a problem with them, then we have a problem with you.
There are schools in this country where people wear their hijabs and dress, and this learning goes on, and other people who don't wear it. So why is it a problem when you have evidence that there are places where it isn't a problem? Why is it a problem here?
Yeah. Those and that's why I'm putting all the pressure, from my perspective, all the pressure now is on the head teachers.
No, Ministry of Education.
Ministry of Education for sure. Lakini sasa, because we wouldn't have known this story if the head teacher hadn't told this child to go home.
And I am challenging the school. We'll call the guardian after the show to confirm whether the good student is back or not. That one I'll confirm and share with the team. The second issue is I agree with City. This thing starts at the top. The ministry. Let us have that discussion. Yes, let us have that discussion. Let practitioners come there. Let people of different multi-religious faith come there and discuss on this issue. Let us simply say that enough is enough. Let education be freely. You see, let education flow smoothly. Let no one be interjected. There is another petition that was just decided the other day.
Okay.
Just around there's a school around Parklands, I believe, where there's some students who are denied an opportunity to pray.
Okay.
Yes. And you see, for us as Muslim, let me tell you, sometimes it's not about the structure. We just need a mat, ablution point, and we make our prayers, and that is done.
Okay.
You see, sometimes these politics have had whereby some students have their parents who are willing to build a structure there in the school, but there are a lot of politics in the management of the school.
Yes.
So you get now this opportunity, and I'm also telling parents who sit in the PTA, please consider these issues very strongly, and let the sensitivity of these issues be accorded the respect they deserve.
Yes.
Every child deserves to go to school, continue with his or her learning without any interference to such minority things.
Yes, I agree with you. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We have come to the end of the show. Rajab, asante sana. Nasir pia asante sana. And like you said, if you can also put our producer in touch with the parent, perhaps it would be good so we can get certain perspectives and understand this case even deeper. All right, folks, do stand by, because in the next hour, which is already here with us, we are having a different conversation, and I shall be introducing our guest shortly. Right now, though, here's the news with Winnie Maganga.
This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. Striking medics in Nairobi have been given 48 hours to return to work or risk losing their salaries. The ultimatum was issued as the county assembly moves to end the strike, which has disrupted health services for nearly 3 months. The assembly's health committee says continued refusal to resume duty will not be tolerated, and those who ignore the directive will face financial penalties. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi is calling on members of parliament and senators to consider possible constitutional changes to help reduce government spending. Speaking before the National Assembly Budget Committee, Mbadi said the country's growing wage bill is putting pressure on the economy. He warned that continued duplication of roles between the national and the county governments may not be sustainable.
I dare say this, it's not working. And you know it's not working. We're only afraid to say because of the politics of the day.
The truth is that this constitution is too expensive. This economy will collapse under the weight of our mismanagement and governance challenges. So we need to be to answer through Chairman Honorable Kainan, you are the people to start initiating some of these things.
The government has so far spent 9 billion Kenya shillings on drought intervention efforts across the country. Speaking on the matter, Cabinet Secretary for Public Service Geoffrey Ruku said the amount could rise to 13 billion Kenya shillings as the government continues to respond to the ongoing drought situation. He added that the government has also set aside 1 billion Kenya shillings to deal with possible flooding in case the country experiences heavy rains.
We are likely to go to 13 billion Kenya shillings as far as drought interventions are concerned. That is a huge amount of money, Trevor, coming from the budget of the Republic of Kenya. And also, as far as flood is concerned, we have budgeted 1 billion Kenyan shillings so far, just in case we get massive flooding. Hope that we may not be at that level. But in case if there is massive flooding.
The U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, was hit by 2 drones on Tuesday, causing small fire and minor damage to the compound. The Saudi Ministry of Defense says there was later reports that more drones targeted the embassy as part of Iran's retaliation across the Gulf for recent U.S. and Israeli attacks. U.S. President Donald Trump told News Nation that America's response to the embassy attack and the killing of 4 American service members will be announced soon. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga.
Sports on Radio Generation.
Good morning, I'm Samuel Otieno. Real Madrid missed the chance to move within 1 point of La Liga leaders Barcelona after Martin Satriano's spectacular strike gave Getafe a shock win at the Bernabeu. Satriano scored the winner before halftime when his breathtaking volley nestled into Thibaut Courtois' top corner, condemning the host to a second successive league defeat. It means Real remain 4 points behind Barca, having now played 26 games. The American boxing legend Floyd Mayweather is set to fight Greek kickboxer Mike Zambidis in an exhibition match this June. The bout will take place in Athens and will serve as a preparation for Mayweather's highly anticipated rematch against Manny Pacquiao. Mayweather and Pacquiao are scheduled to face off on September 19th at the Sphere in Las Vegas. The fight will be streamed live on Netflix. And that's your sports update on Radio Generation. Good morning, I'm Samuel Otieno.
Sports on Radio Generation.
Radio Generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Radio Generation. Radio Generation assumes no responsibility or liability for the interviewee's views. This is Radio Generation. In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast, curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast, your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Hey, Majok 100 amesema movie stop happening the wrong line. Majok, I think tulimaliza the story, sindio? Aya, Daya Interactive Agency 4717 amesema means the Muslim missionaries did not invest in schools, only madrasa. I think if you have a madrasa, you have to dress how they are. I don't know, City, where ndio umeishi coast sana? If I were to go, if a
bless you.
If a non-Muslim were to go to a Muslim school, that is a girl, a non-Muslim girl, would she have to dress in hijabs and all those things?
Yes, the uniform, it's not a hijab. It's a uniform that mirrors it, but it is not exactly a hijab. There'll be a white trousers and a garment and so forth, but that will be the uniform.
Okay.
You see, the hijab...
Na lazima atavaa your headgear.
Yeah, the hijab is a very specific garment. I mean, don't assume that every garment that is flowing, that is worn by a lady who subscribes to the Muslim faith is a hijab. You must understand what a hijab is and what it signifies.
I mean, not Nasir, Rajab tried to explain it in the simplest way he could. He said it has got to be white, it has got to be thick, haina perfume, something simple, not tight, not too loose, just enough covering the hair, and na I can explain. So niko na idea what a hijab is. What I'm asking is, for a non-Muslim who has gone to a Muslim school, will the uniform be required?
What I have witnessed is that the school has a uniform that tries to conform to the dress that is considered appropriate, the uniform, and everybody wears it.
Okay. Yes. Star Kenya nasema this hijab thing, it seems to be more about law and order, aka school rules, than religious intolerance. What do you think?
It is about religious intolerance. If it is a predominantly Christian school, okay, and they have a way in which they've been doing things all along, and they do not accommodate deviation, you should say so that people don't apply to go to those schools.
Okay.
So
ukaango kijua.
We don't allow this.
You know what? I want to ask our guest in the studio what he thinks about that particular situation. He is the founder, Edu and Masomo Edge. The topic is promoting education through the All Schools Expo. He'll be telling us about that particular expo. Newton Hamasi. How do I say this name? Is it Newton Hamasi or is it Newton Hamasi? Inasema namna gani?
Newton Hamasi.
Kwa hivyo nimesema vizuri sana. Now, I don't know if you're aware of that situation of that lady Elwak girls mwenye alifukuzwa shule.
Not Elwak, Lwak.
Oh, Lwak.
Yes, Elwak is
Elwak. Elwak ni mali kwingine.
Tena iko mbali na hapo sana.
Lwak girls high school, I believe it is, who was sent home because of her dress code. What do you think of that issue?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so grateful to be here and to be having this discussion here. Basically, from what I picked out, and this is something that I journeyed or I started 2 years ago.
Okay.
In Kenya or in the world, the education ecosystem has been working in silos. We have an ecosystem or an education ecosystem where instead of working together, everyone is working on himself or with himself or on his sides.
Okay.
And from where I sit, I believe whatever that happened to that girl is because of lack of a synergy within the education ecosystem. If we had the understanding that the better we work together as an ecosystem, the better for us all, I believe we are going to achieve better and bigger than working in silos. Because if we approached, that is why we have All Schools Expo. Because what you're looking at is we want every player in the education sector, every stakeholder, be it a parent, be it a Muslim school, be it an international school, be it a CBC, a public or a private school, be it an ed tech company, be it a financial in the education sector. All these players coming together with one soul, with one goal, to build a unified education ecosystem. We will not have these particular rough engagements whereby you find this child cannot fit in this school, this one cannot fit in this school because of religious alignment, because of beliefs. But if we realize that education is the uniting component of any society, then we'll not be seeing such things.
Yes. And funny enough, City, I am getting all these voices that are supporting this girl, but I have not found any voice that is saying that the principal of that school was okay or right to remove her from the school. So I'm asking, did we just have one person in that school making this decision to send this girl home? Is that how, for example, things happen? You've been a head teacher before. The decision to send someone home, does it rest with the principal and the principal alone, or do you have like a discipline master involved, the dormitory mistress or matron involved before they decide that this person has violated the rules and needs to go home?
The head of a school has enormous powers. If it's something controversial, they have one within the school, the so-called discipline committee. But what has a hijab got to do with discipline? See, accommodation means this is the uniform that you have. It's blue and white or red and blue. So you can say, look, you can't wear a black hijab, but you can wear a garment that conforms with the colors of the school, but does not violate your faith. Okay? So we will understand that because of your faith, when girls wear skirts, you will want a trouser, but this is white. Instead of the blouse, your blouse will be long-sleeved and it will be high-necked. Okay? The only difference, again, you'll have a head cover.
Okay.
But it will be the colors of the school. That is called accommodation.
All right.
So what you've done is just changed the manner of the uniform, but in terms of adhering to the colors of the school, the faith has been accommodated.
Okay.
Now, when the discussion about that alteration is not in existence, that's what is happening here. Then we let our imagination fly. Then we start looking at what it is that is going on here. The reason why I'm focusing on intolerance is this. Intolerance is born out of ignorance. Now, the manifestation, which is intolerance, in addressing it, you will have to ask, how do you address this particular ignorance? How do you ensure that the broader discussion around this is actually understood? See? And I have found that such discussions are best had when you take an extremist view.
Okay.
Yes, then a discussion begins. If you take a placating view where everything is all hunky-dory and good, then everybody is mollified. This matter must be discussed.
All right.
Yes.
Newton, maybe you can tell us a little bit about Edu and Masomo Edge.
Thank you very much. Now, the journey of Edu and Masomo Edge began with All Schools Expo. And All Schools Expo started as I mentioned when I started, as a unifying education ecosystem, where instead of the partners and the players doing or operating in silos in different sectors, we intended to bring a conversation around the highly invested in investment for a parent and for a child. Because if you look around, show me one parent who has never invested in education. Show me a government that does not invest in education. But in the long run, we find ourselves operating in different spaces, not unifying the ecosystem to achieve the educational excellence that we need. So we came and said, no, why don't we just have a platform that is solid, that is unifying, that is accommodative of all the education sector players. That is to mention a few: schools, service providers, and solution providers in the sector, including the government, and as well the players in the ecosystem. We have publishers, we have financiers, we have insurance, education insurance. We have all these components that are so separated and operating in their own spaces that they end up forgetting their key mandate of educational excellence. And due to that, the All Schools Expo started as a platform to help learning institutions showcase what they offer, and parents to make an informed decision that is comprehensive, not just limited to one particular angle or view. Meaning that we have different curriculums. We have different approach to education. We have the digital component. We have where students go to class. We have where we have private tuition and all these components. But we have limited our parents to make decisions without the comprehensive view of the education sector. And that is where All Schools comes in. But now in the process, in the journey of the 2 years that we have done the All Schools Expo, we noticed there is something bigger that we need to enhance or to come up with to ensure that the ecosystem plays for everyone. and accommodates everyone.
Yeah.
That is where now Edu and Masomo Age comes in.
Okay.
Edu basically is the intelligence layer of education ecosystem, whereby through Edu, you can tell, is this school demand being met? Is the demand and supply in the education sector actually meeting or accommodating each other? Because you realize, if right now you challenge the Minister of Education to tell you, in Nairobi County,
yes,
how many students want to go for the STEM pathway in CBC, they will not be able to tell you. That is why you find there is a complete mismatch of the demand and the supply in the education sector. So what Edu does is to bring in the demand, to highlight and to forecast what the supply will look like in the next 1 year or 2 years.
Sorry, go on.
So you realize, like last year or this year actually, students were transitioning from grade 9 to
10.
grade 10.
Yes.
And there was a total mess. Even in the Parliament of Kenya, you saw the lead of majority mention that we have a kinda clueless ministry leadership, which it might not be their fault, because we don't have a structural system that can empower them to make the right decision. Because you can realize you're dealing with almost 1 million students transitioning from one level to another every year. And if you compound all that data, it comes into millions. And for you to be able to make sense of this and to make decisions that favor the education ecosystem, you must have a system that empowers that. That is what Edu is intended to achieve.
Now, because you said now Edu is the intelligence level.
Yes.
How is it going to achieve that? What are the tools, basically? That is what I need to know. What are the tools being used to achieve this?
So the tools being used, as I said, we started with the platform called All Schools Expo. So All Schools Expo, we realized we wanted to bring a unified platform where schools will come and showcase from kindergarten to university level. But in the process, we realized there's a mismatch. You realize a school puts up a billboard.
Yes.
A school runs advertisements in this location.
Kwanza Mombasa Road zimejaa.
Hizo
mabillboards.
Exactly. So they assume that everybody who sees it will make a decision to go to that school.
Yes.
That era is way gone.
Really?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Why I say that is because as a parent, there is what I want for my child. And you see, previously, we used to decide, or parents used to decide where we will go to school, what we will study. But right now, in the current era, city, you realize that students,
are the ones
student
deciding,
and the children are the one guiding where they want to be. You will take a child to a school and he will tell you, no, I don't want that school.
And we are taking the view that this child knows about school to the point where they can make such a decision for themselves.
Not really. It is the power of making these children understand what they want. An example. We are not in school when our children are going through this pathway learning, right?
Yes.
So at that point when a child is sitting for the exam, is the parent there?
No, but even when you are going to school, were your parents there?
They were not there.
Yes,
but they could dictate.
Parents are never there.
They could dictate.
Yes.
You get me? They could dictate where or what I will study in school. You'll tell your parent, I want to do law. But in the real sense, you don't want to do that law. But your parent tells you, I'm the one paying.
So you would
study law, and then you'll pay for yourself whatever you want to do.
Newton, I understand what you're saying, but let me ask this question. You are saying that contrary to the time when you were in school, where parents had a very big say in what it is you studied, are you saying that in this modern day and age, children have a bigger say in what they study? And that parents do not have a big say?
Yes.
Actually, I agree with Newton, because...
Why?
If a child is strong in, let's say, the STEM subjects, you'd be as a parent, you'd be wrong forcing this child to go in this other direction that isn't STEM. Kuna STEM na gani zingine?
There is STEM, there is arts.
So let's go with arts. So you would be wrong. Actually, if a student is strong in the arts, for example, hata wewe ukimlazimisha kwenda STEM, you're wasting your time. Ataenda huko atagonga maukuta.
So what are we saying? Yes. Are we saying that the students now have a bigger say in what they're studying, or are we saying that the parents have come to a point where their influence and say in what a child studies has reduced? What are we saying?
We are saying both, actually, but let me allow him to say.
Actually, City, the backbone of CBC is to ensure that a parent, a child, and a teacher work together for the nurturing of the abilities of this child. Okay? The reason why is there was a disconnect between the link between the parent and the student or the child. Because you realize in the morning, your child wakes up, dresses up, and leaves for school. In the evening, they come. The only thing that a parent does is to make sure that they pay the school fees. But right now, City, if you have a child who is in between grade 3 and grade 9, when they come back home, they want to do homework with you. They want to sit down with you. They want to go through whatever they have learned together with you, to tell you their mind. I'll give you an example. I have a son who, sometimes we have discussions and I realize what I had thought this boy can do is not what really he wants to do. And you realize that the moment you accommodate his thoughts, because there's a moment we were like trying to have a conversation like, hey, we need to shift from the CBC, I take you to the international curriculum. And the boy said, no, I don't want to go there. Reason being, the timelines in the year are different. And he feels like this CBC gives him more leverage than this other one. So you have to accommodate the views of your child for you to be able to guide their future. And even schools.
So essentially you're telling me
yes,
it is the parents who have had to change.
Yes.
The student has remained the student.
Yes.
They are learning.
Yes.
But the CBC is supposed to give the parents an opportunity to participate in their children's learning.
Correct.
And so what do the teachers do exactly?
So the teachers are there to guide these children.
Just guide?
Yes. It is just guidance and instilling knowledge and wisdom through the learning process. But the major role is the decision of the child. The child, as a child, they have to make that decision on what they want.
Mwalimu City, help me understand. When you were a teacher, what was your role as a teacher?
Everything that Newton is saying was part of the curriculum that we were taught.
Yeah.
We called it child-centered education.
Yes.
The practice was to some degree child-centered, yes. And indeed, yes, the parents had a very big say. Let's understand why. There's a certain point in time when parents lived through their children vicariously. What do I mean? A parent would have wanted to do law, but in the time he was a student, law wasn't really that easy to get to. Yes. So he has to make sure that his child becomes a lawyer, just living through your child vicariously. There's the prestige factor of what it is your child is studying. Depending on where you came from, your child is studying law, your child is studying medicine, your child is studying engineering. As a parent, when you sit with your contemporaries, your conversation is one filled with pride because you can lord it over the others.
My child.
Yes, whose children are doing simple BA courses, which essentially was felt. Well,
hii time ya watu ilikuanga mbaya sana.
It was,
and things are changing actually.
Yes.
Now, that was then. I'm a product of those parents.
Yes.
Who were the first Africans to start working after the Mzungu left. Okay? And many of them wanted to imitate the Mzungu by trying to show the Mzungu they could do better and they could run this country even without the Mzungu. And because of that thinking, very many things in this country actually worked very well. Now, the change that you speak of and with the education has to do with how it is we then started treating teachers and how we trained teachers, because teaching is not just a question of ensuring that the child is learning.
Yes.
Your job as a teacher is to also connect with the parents.
Correct.
And that's why there are this parents consultation was not invented in the 21st century. They were always there. Okay. Now, part of what many parents did not understand, and this has nothing to do with schooling, is that the moment you have a child, you have initiated a learning process for the rest of your life. Because as a parent, you also have to grow up. The school where parents learn to parent is when they're parenting. And also from how they were parented. So they combine the two. When it comes to the child making choices the child has to be helped, because a child is a child.
Yes.
And they're limited in their... Yes, a child is a child. They are limited. Their brains haven't developed fully. That brain develops fully at the age of 25. 25. So in all this time, the experience that a parent has to be brought into this learning. Yes, there are parents who will insist that a child must do this. And not all parents are well informed. But there are parents who are fairly well informed. What we're discussing here again is how a parent changes their way of parenting to the point where they accommodate a discussion with their children. And the CBC, according to Newton, enables you to do this because you're forced fed. The child comes with the homework and they want you to help. Haki, you're going back to school. Yes. Now, is this a good thing? I think it's a very good thing. I think it's a very good thing. Because the idea that once you paid school fees, the school did everything, that in itself is a misnomer. Because you take a child to school, then you divorce yourself from the education system until a later stage. It is a mistake. I think parents should be involved in the lives of their children when they're going to school, whether it's kindergarten, whether it is primary, whatever grade you call it. I think it is important. It also helps the parent grow, so that you also get to understand how your child looks at life and how they view the things they want to do. That I'm in agreement.
Yes.
Now, for the All Schools Expo, right?
Yes.
When is it been held?
So for the All Schools Expo, we do it across the country. We basically visit all the major counties in Kenya. We started 2 years ago, and we have gone to Mombasa, we have gone to Uasin Gishu County, we have gone to Kisumu County, we have gone to Nakuru County, we have gone to Kiambu County, and all these counties. The major goal that we want to achieve with this is to bring a platform. Because we have seen a lot of players in the sector not really addressing the needs in the sector. And we invite schools of all ages, from kindergarten to university. Because again, when you have this child and they are growing in their life and they want to have that transition from kindergarten all the way to university, their career journey is not only decided at the top. You have to nurture this journey as you move forward. And as the child grows and progresses from one grade to another, you need also to know, where will I take my child next? And that information is what most of the parents lack. You find that parents make those decisions at the point of transition, not before.
Yeah.
You've realized that early this year, January, you find a parent has had this child for the 9 years in school, from grade 1 to grade 9.
Yes.
But now in January, when the child is supposed to be reporting to grade 10, hajui ni shule gani atapeleka mtoto. Then they come in and say, I have the money. I think this money can help me. They go to a school, they try to buy a space for the child, and yet this parent had 9 good years to plan for this child's education. And therefore, at the All Schools Expo, you are able to come as a parent, engage with these schools from the younger kindergartens to the senior colleges, like the universities and colleges, so that you can see, if your child is good in football, where do I purpose to take my child after he's done with grade 9? Should I just look for a school because of prestige, the way City said?
Yeah.
Is it because of my ability, or is it because I want to see my child nurtured in whatever he wants to do? And with that, you realize that there are a lot of things that miss us as parents, not because we don't want them, but because we don't have that information. So through the platform, we give all the stakeholders an opportunity to come and see and understand what is happening in the education ecosystem. A very good case in scenario is we are into a digital space.
Okay.
There are schools that are offering quality education through online platform. Your child doesn't need to leave home to go to school. But because you as a parent, you have no information of that school, you realize that your child is going, probably you're missing out on something that is of quality compared to what you're receiving now, and not even expensive, cheaper, but you don't know about it.
Wait, there are schools that are offering online education?
Yes, completely online.
Nilidhani online ya university pekee.
No, even from kindergarten.
If you have homeschooling, why can you not have online learning for children in school?
You see, homeschooling is a bit different because you can either
The teacher comes
the
home.
teacher comes, or even
Yes.
the parent is the teacher.
Yes.
Using the tools that are available.
Yes.
I just didn't know that you can have an entire curriculum for your child.
By the way, what I find strange is, why are you surprised?
I'm surprised because, like I said, I thought online
In the
university
1960s, there were lessons we learned through radio.
Lessons.
Yes.
Not an entire education system.
But if
and the curriculum, yes.
If in the 1960s there were lessons we were learning through radio. So why is it strange that in the information age people should learn online? I mean, that's what I'm asking. What is strange about it?
I'm thinking about the concentration span of children.
Paul, when we had COVID, there was online learning, for heaven's sake.
Yes, there was online learning, and
That
you see,
thing is
then
different.
No, it's not different.
Most of the parents were
It's not
struggling.
different.
Most of the parents were
It was
struggling
new,
to
and they should.
align.
But it was new, so they have to struggle.
But you see, for those parents who were already informed, city, they were able to adapt quickly.
Yeah.
And that is why we are saying, with this platform we are building, is a platform to increase the information symmetry across board, so that you know what is happening around you.
City, the reason why I am reacting this way is because mimi nimesomea darasani. Nilikuwa ninaamka asubuhi, my mother prepares me, ninaoshwa, napakiwa ka lunch box, kanekwa sandwich and whatever. Saa zingine ugali, saa zingine githeri, na naambiwa enda shule. So, and that for me is school, where you sit in a class with a desk, where you are asked questions by a teacher, and if you do not answer correctly, you are slapped or you are whipped. That for me was school. Hii ingine ya internet mahali sasa kuna webcam na naona mwalimu, hiyo nime experience tu at the university level.
Paul, this is something that is very human. You are responding to change.
Yes.
That's how we interact with change. It's unusual. We don't know it. We resist it.
I'm not resisting. I just
course,
have
of
confidence.
course you're resisting it. You just don't think so. But people resist. When Newton talks about the COVID era and the challenges parents had, they were resisting it. They're like you. They know learning has to take place in a classroom.
Yes.
And
where the teacher comes and looks at my work.
And you see the teacher.
Ananiambia hapana, Rabi, rudia tena.
When online learning for universities came along and qualifications followed, people would ask, is this qualification real?
Yes. Like alienda shule wapi?
I'm not telling you.
Show us your
I think it ulisoma kweli.
Oh, kama wale politicians wanaambiwa
yes, mtu anasema alienda university. They say they went to the university.
You see, now for me that is a challenge.
But that's the point I'm trying to make. You are resisting it. It is available for you to understand, but you're saying, no, it's not there. It's there. But you, Badoni, no, it's not there.
I'm not resisting
it. How do you think people resist things? Huh?
I'm not saying that
It is not that
this is not education. I'm not
you
saying that.
don't take a placard and demonstrate to resist, okay? You just refuse to move from the position that you are in.
Yes.
That's resisting.
Okay, you know what? Let me resist. I am not sure I'm comfortable with my child going to an online school.
Resisting.
Now you see, the uncomfortability is normal.
Yes.
Okay? And that is why we say, you need to be informed of what happens on this platform. You see, when the president was starting the Open University of Kenya,
ile iko pale Konza City.
people never imagined that it can happen. But right now, I can tell you, Paul, it is the only institution that is giving hope to most of the students in the remote areas. Because a child in West Pokot can be able to go to the university, acquire his degree without stepping physically
his
in
or
that
her
institution.
degree.
Yes.
No, you said his.
Yes. His or her degree without even stepping in that classroom. And you see, this is the benefit of technology in the education ecosystem. Technology. You get me?
Yes.
So those are the things that during these expos that we are taking across the country, and we have decentralized them. We are not doing one in Nairobi and we do another one in just the spaces of Nairobi. What you're doing, we are taking it to the people. Mashinani. So that when a parent is in Kisumu, they can know there is an open university that can actually nurture my child's potential to the fullest. There is this digital school, an online school, that can give their child international quality level education. And therefore, we believe that through this platform, we are creating that awareness for both players, the supply givers, like the education institutions, and on the other side, the users, the consumers, the child, the parent, and the policy makers in the sector.
You know, the first time I saw this digital learning space was, again, when I was at Kenyatta University, they had this thing called ODEL, Open and Digital Learning. Nilikuwa nashanga digital open.
Do you know
sasa uko internet yani unasoma kwa internet.
Kenyatta University pioneered this.
Yes. They had an entire department for it.
Believe me, they pioneered this long before people had even understood it.
Actually, it started as a distant learning concept.
Yes.
Whereby you're told you can learn from where you are. Yes. It was not digital.
Yeah.
But now we are progressing.
Yeah.
Now it has shifted from the distance now to online and real time.
Right.
And you find there is complete growth as you move. But the most important thing that we have noticed in this sector is
yes,
the players in the sector operate from a competitive point of view instead of a cooperative point of view. You realize there is school A, there is school B, there is school C. Instead of working together in a cooperative way, they do things in a competition spirit. And if you look at it, even the Ministry of Education, the government at large, has come to address this by removing ranking of schools. So that a child who goes to Alliance and a child who goes to Kakamega High School in Kakamega does not feel less or more privileged than the other.
There's that school that you and Nanim mlikuwa mnasema. Was it Sirigongo? Sirigongo.
No. Oh,
Sawagongo.
Yes.
Yeah, so someone who goes to Alliance and another one who goes to Sawagongo and a feel wako.
Yes, they should feel the same because that competition.
No, why should they feel the same?
Because you see, city with education is the biggest equalizer. How you acquired your education should never affect how I acquired mine. You might have acquired yours at Alliance. I might have acquired mine
at
in
Sawagongo
or at Sawagongo. But when you come here, yes, and when we come here and engage, there is nowhere on your face, city, Alliance High School is printed. It is the quality of education you receive.
I actually understand what you're saying.
Yes.
Let me explain to you why I'm asking the question I'm asking. You went to school at a time which is different from mine.
Yes.
This equalization that you speak of actually existed.
Yes.
And in this sense. So long as it was a government school, that government school had teachers.
Yes.
Nobody could say there were not enough teachers or there wasn't enough equipment. If you enter secondary, it was a day secondary school. You had an opportunity to study and move on in life just like somebody who was in a school now, which was what we call a provincial school. We haven't gone to national schools yet.
Yes.
Provincial school tended to be boarding. There were day schools that had a broader spectrum in that they were bigger, they accommodated more students, and by virtue of that, they also had more facilities. But the idea of going to school and having an equal opportunity actually existed. It's over time when the disparities started setting in, but it existed. It honestly didn't matter. So long as you could attend that school, there were teachers to teach you and you could move ahead.
Yes.
Then the disparity came in.
Yes.
Somewhere along the line, we didn't cater for the numbers of students who now needed education.
Yes.
We did not build many schools to accommodate them.
Correct.
Okay?
Yes.
And in not building, we also did not train enough teachers to meet these needs. Around 1978, at the time when I joined the university, the government was seeking to address this issue. And what they did was they moved the entire faculty of education from the University of Nairobi to what was Kenyatta College.
Yes.
No, Kenyatta College. Kenya Science was created. I'm not going to know which Scandinavian country built it for us. But it was to train science teachers. And you're right.
Yes.
There was a need to have people who are trained as teachers in science subjects.
Yes.
Okay? It was set up specifically for that.
For that, yes.
It was to address these needs.
Exactly.
Okay? But they offered diploma courses.
Yes.
Kenyatta University College, which then later became Kenyatta University, was a college that taught nothing but education. The entire faculty. It was just education, education, education. That's what it taught.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Degree.
Yes.
They offer diploma later. Now, why am I going through this laborious explanation?
Yes.
there was a time when the government understood the need and started taking steps to do so. Okay? But they didn't build sufficient schools to meet this demand also.
Correct.
Yes.
And that is why city, in our journey, we have edu. You get me? To just have a match of the demand and the supply. Because you see, if you don't match these two, you will not understand what you're achieving or what you're doing. And the education sector really needs it because we don't have a structural way of telling the demand insights from this particular area, the supply insights from this particular area. We have that disconnect. And that is why we, in our own study, in our 2-year journey, we noticed there is something here that needs to be addressed. The mismatch of the demand and the supply. And the moment we address that as a country, even globally, we realize that we are going to do better. A very good example is that in Kenya we have something called HELP, Higher Education Loans Board. Basically, that is a board that gives loans.
They said they are broke, by the way.
Okay?
Yes.
They give loans for students to be able to go to school.
Yes.
Now, I challenged myself and went into research. Across the world, across the globe, Paul, there is no banking institution that supports education holistically. We have development banks, we have all these other sectoral funds or banks, but we don't have a bank that its sole purpose
is education.
And that is why I would like the forward-thinking leaders like our President William Ruto should reconsider and repackage HELP not as a higher education loans board, but as a financing entity specifically for education, where as parents we can also start banking with this institution with the goal of enabling our children access financing at the point of need. Or even it can be a bank for education, specifically for education, so that you start introducing your children to this particular bit. Because as you move, you are a student today, tomorrow you will be a parent. So investment in education is a continuous journey. And therefore, instead of help being there to help when that need comes, let us have a financing institution that is continuous. Actually, financing the education sector holistically, not to do any other thing, but their goal is to finance education. And from there, I believe we'll be able to achieve inclusivity and financial progress in the education sector, whereby no child is left behind just because they don't have the money.
There are politicians, including the Honorable Lukia Mtata, who are of a different opinion. Hii maneno ya CDF, bursaries, nini, bursary ya president, kuna bursary ya parliament, kuna bursary ya governor, bursary ya MCA. If all that money was put in a consolidated kind of fund, education would be free in this country. We wouldn't even need to think about things as...
That's what they keep
actually,
saying.
Paul,
Have they demonstrated how that would work? Have they quantified the amount involved in all these things that they say?
Said it came to something close to 103 billion, something.
All right,
but
and
my thinking is this. And as a country, we really need to walk away from this thing called free education.
Okay.
We should change it from free education to quality education. If all these funds were put together, they will enhance us to be able to achieve quality education, not free education. Free is very expensive.
How so?
And therefore, free is because, you see, when these funds are put together, the goal will be, we want to give people free education. No. The funds should be consolidated to enhance the quality of education across board for everyone in the education sector. But when you say free, it means that, we are just giving you this thing. For the purpose,
even if there are no classrooms.
Exactly. We want to give you free education. And you see, when you say that, you try to weaken the quality.
How long would it take for us then, assuming, say, year one, we have consolidated all these funds, Indio?
Yes.
To make into education.
Yes.
How long would it take? Because I believe we can probably take the first year or two building the infrastructure. So we're talking about schools here. So classrooms, the libraries, the ablution blocks. I believe in 1 to 2 years maximum, we shall have all those things Labs will be well equipped. First of all, we'll even have labs.
Yes.
They'll be well equipped. We'll have enough money perhaps to even employ teachers.
Yes.
And then the remainder of the time, students just walk into quality education.
Correct. And you see, what I'm saying is this. In Kenya, we lack data-driven decision in the education sector. You find, like the Northeastern, there are no major schools or many schools as per se.
True.
But they get equal allocation with a school in Nairobi that has a lot of students.
Okay.
You get me? So when we have...
Why are you saying this as though it's a problem?
No, it is not a problem. What I'm saying is that we need to make a decision based on data.
So that the money
Not
that comes
just decision.
to Nairobi...
Yes.
No. So you are saying that the allocation that they are given isn't driven by data?
Yes, the allocation that is given is not really driven by quality data that is current.
What data would you consider to be quality?
Okay, quality data is, you see, like that shift, the way you are saying, Kenya science was started because of the demand for
science teachers.
By the it was the Swedes and the Kenyan government.
Yes,
yeah,
because of the science teachers. It had to take another government institution or another country to see that and come and invest in terms of enhancing that particular provision of quality science teachers. But now in Kenya, we need to sit down and say, this region has this particular number of students. And this particular number of students, they need X, Y, Z needs. This is the money that is there. All this consolidated fund that is put together. And you direct this money where it is needed first.
The most.
Yes. Look at what Ndinyoro did in Kiharu. And there's a point he was trying to make and saying, in his way of addressing those issues, he came down and realized the costings go this direction. But I chose to do things in a different angle to be able to achieve. And that is why, with the small resources he has, he's able to impact the effect of educational excellence in his constituency. And therefore, when you're making that decision of how are we sending this money this way, if you look at the help, when students were applying, some of them were being denied on the basis that their parents are able. But in the real sense, they are not able. So you realize that the data they are using is not quality data.
Explain
that can
this. How is it that the data that they have indicates the parents are able and yet they are not? Where's the disparity?
The way of collection of this data.
Like for example, when you're applying for help, si wanakulizanga if both your parents are alive,
yes,
what they do. So you state my mother does this, my father does this. So that data, they assume that because Mbuvi's mother is a broadcaster and the father is a banker, wataweza kulipia Mbuvi. Chances are my father is deep in debt, we are being auctioned. My mom also deep in debt, we are being auctioned. But because she's a broadcaster and this one is a banker, huyu anaweza lipa.
And again, you see, we need to have a system where every year when a child progresses to the next level, we have an automatic update of the current status of that child in terms of educational needs. Because what happens is, you will fill that form when you have finished high school and you want to go to the university. A lot of things have changed between when you are young to this point when you're making that decision to go to university. And that's why I'm saying we need to have a system where all this information is compounded slowly by slowly, so that by the time you're making that decision to go maybe take that particular financing for your education, all that information is there.
So are we saying that as we speak now that the Ministry of Education doesn't have this information?
It doesn't have. So it doesn't have its city.
So you are saying that, one, let's start from the beginning, their data collection processes are flawed.
Very.
Explain why they're flawed, please.
They're flawed because, as I mentioned, you see, when you're collecting data, you have to look at what are your sources first. And then what is the goal you want to achieve with this data you're collecting. Without linking the source or the type of data you have and the goal you want to achieve with that data, then the data you're collecting in between here is not going to help you. You get me? So instead of basically the data that the government has is to just see the transition from grade 9 to 10. That is basically the information they have. And then the other information they have is to rank students. This one got A, haya wacha tuchukue hii Minsco tumtupe Alliance High School.
So you are assuming that is the only data they have?
That is the only data they have.
And you're positively sure that this is the data they have?
100%. That is the only data they have. NEMIS, that is the work NEMIS does. Because if they had quality data, the moment I apply for help at for this loan from help, they need to automatically know that Newton is in Kakamega and this child has been performing this way. The family is not doing well. So in our budgeting or in our planning, we need to have that in mind. So that when they are going to Parliament to ask for this money for approval, they know that this money is going to go to this particular area and this particular area and this particular area. A very good example, IBC maps out the country. When they map out, they come and say to Parliament, instead of 5 billion, we need 7 billion. Why? Because of this information that they have. But with the ministry, you know, the other day I laughed when the PS said that we have enough classrooms, so all grade 10 should go to school. Honestly, is it an issue of having just classrooms? And that goes without saying, because right now, if you go to high school, there is a complete class that is empty.
Complete?
Yes, complete.
With everything. It has furniture?
Yes, because there were students there. But right now, they are not there.
Why?
Because of that transition gap.
If you change a system and you have an 8 and then you have a 4, and then you change that, I'm giving as an example.
Yes.
So now you have a 7 and you have a 3 and you have something else.
Exactly.
There's a point at which when you're transitioning, there'll be a class that is empty.
Right now, there's a class that is
because
completely
somebody will have moved to the next class, but there'll be nobody to move to this particular class. So there'll be a gap.
There's a gap. You got me? So that's why we're saying, like, we need quality data that is going to inform the decisions that happen in the education sector.
You know, for example, this means testing that you're looking at to make a SHA.
Yes.
You know, there are some people their phone is the one that is used to collect chama money.
Yes.
Or pesa ya jumuiya in the Catholic Church, for example.
And they assume.
So every Sunday, because when you're the treasurer wa jumuiya, simu yako ikosangi 100,000. And then in the means testing, they categorize you
as a premium,
as someone who should pay even upwards of 3,000 per month.
Exactly.
Okay,
Me, I filled that form and I was told to pay 78,000 for a whole year.
Why didn't you?
And I was like, hey. You know, with 78,000, thank you.
Why? No, Newton. Apana, Newton.
Get quality.
Newton, let's have an honest conversation.
Yes, please.
You are clearly somebody who has political ambitions. Ngoja kidogo. Let me continue my discussion. This man has allowed himself the treasurer of many groups ambazo zinachanga pesa za matanga. Okay? So pesa ambazo inaingia kwa akaunti yake ni nyingi.
Na kwanza ni Mluya.
Na hata angekuwa Mjaluo to the same problem. Believe me, hiyo tabia tuko nazo is the same.
So amewekewa hapo premium.
Hata angekuwa Mkisii to be the same. So lazima awekewe premium. Nobody told him to be the treasurer for all these groups.
But you see, City, what is happening is that information is misleading.
No, it is not misleading.
It is misleading.
It is misleading.
No, it is not.
He's just a treasurer. He's not the main. He's not earning that money.
Number, he should learn. This man is educated. Number ni yake. So pesa ambayo inaingia hapo ni yake. Please understand. The algorithm is not being unfair.
See, inapita.
He's just a custodian.
You see, like the other day when Safaricom was being sold, or when they were transferring shares from X and Y, some were saying this is undervaluation. Some were saying this is overvaluation. Some were saying it is equal. It is satisfactory valued. But if you look at it, Safaricom, like if you say M-Pesa has a lot of money, but it just carries, it is just a conveyor belt.
Yes.
You got me?
Right.
So you can't task
allow me to explain something to you with the one word.
Yes.
Okay? Yes. No, there are two words. There's cash flow, there's another one called turnover. Bro, that's what they look at. So, hizo stori nyingi.
So why
kwa na simu ya chama, get another atukatululu phone that deals with such matters, or get just another phone that deals with these things here. So unajua clearly. Look, it is good that we say these things because there is no perfect system.
Yes.
And there's an opportunity to improve. But the Ministry of Education is now the greater conveyor belt. You know why? The information they have and the information they collect just from students being in schools should have enabled them to do things better.
Correct.
I read, unless I dreamt that I read this. Did I read that they had increased the allocation they are giving to schools?
The allocation actually is usually a third of the Kenyan budget.
No, they increased it. I read somewhere that they increased it. And I was thinking, goodness, if they've increased, this is very serious. My contention is that that money that they allocate to education is enough to run the education ministry.
To run, to manage, and to do everything. And we'll get quality education.
Okay.
And yet that money is expended.
Yeah.
But one doesn't quite see what it does, because what is allocated and what we see
is
there's a disparity.
Exactly, and that is why data is very important. It's supposed to be at the center of all this. And we believe with time, as we really refine Edu, we'll be able to address these challenges in solidarity and know that everything runs because of the education sector.
Okay.
I'm in full agreement with you there. There, you and I are not at variance.
I can tell you, every parent in this country and in the world invests a cent or two or 10 in the education sector. There's no parent without an education budget.
In this country of ours, parents will do anything, literally
anything,
to ensure their children get a good education.
Exactly.
Newton, where is the next expo?
So what we're doing as All Schools Expo, we have a very special event coming up on 21st of March in partnership with Radio Generation.
Yes.
We'll be here at South Sea and we're bringing all learning institutions so that during that family fun day, parents who have children and they're looking for quality education for their child, they can come as the child has fun, as the community enjoys, they can be able to interact with the learning institutions that are available so that moving forward, they make informed decisions that are of quality.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you said 21st?
21st of March.
Yeah, because the post I'm having here says 20th. Ama ni kutakuwa na 20th na 21st?
No, 20th is on Friday is when Eid is ending. So we want to do a one-day event. That is the post.
So, okay.
And it is dependent on that particular sighting of the moon.
For sure.
Yes, that is the most important component of it. So that at least we have a specific one. When the moon is sighted, we do the event the next
day. Yes. So you're going to be at the Ministry of Works Sports Club in South Sea.
Yes, in South Sea.
Yes. Kwanga pale karibu na DCI.
Hapo si karibu na DCI iko ile side. So it is on this other side of South Sea. But it is a place that is very identifiable.
Yes.
So we are inviting all the parents within Nairobi and outside. We are inviting all institutions, learning institutions. We are inviting all players in the education sector, all products that affect a child's education, to show up and be seen and engage and inspire the educational space of the children within the ecosystem.
All right. Beyond and before this event, how can we reach you?
So beyond this event, we have a website, www.allschoolsexpo.co.ke. You can also reach us via email, info@allschoolsexpo.co.ke. And you can visit us at our offices in Kileleshwa, where we envision and purpose to also be of impact to the education sector. And something else that I just want to let the players know that All Schools Expo is not here to compete with any player in the field.
Yes.
What we are doing is we are building a unified education ecosystem where all players in the education system, be it a parent, be it a child, be it a teacher, be it an innovator, be it an edtech, be it a school, be it government, be it international organizations that affect education, can be able to come and play here and just understand and express what they do for the purposes of enhancing educational excellence. And another thing is, All Schools Expo is a platform to build synergy away from the educational silos. You realize that schools operate on their own, teachers have their own, edtech, they are operating on their own, financial institutions are operating on their own, media players are also on their own. But now through the All Schools Expo, and we thank Radio Generation because of the partnership that we're having, so that we can enhance that particular awareness of what we are trying to achieve in the education sector.
Thank you so much, Newton. Of course, mimi nitakuwa pale kwa Sako na Bako.
Karibu sana.
Right now, though, we are taking a short break. When we come back in the next hour, CT and I will be discussing CT's favorite subject, which is the national government CDF. That one and much more coming through. Right now, though, here's the news with Winnie Maganga.
This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. Kenyans have been urged not to become complacent as the new long-acting HIV prevention injectable lenacapavir is rolled out. Government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura emphasized that while the injectable is a major breakthrough, it does not provide full immunity against HIV or other sexually transmitted infections. Mwaura added that Kenya continues to lead the continent in adopting innovative public health solutions, with the Ministry of Health introducing lenacapavir as an active injectable pre-exposure prophylaxis to help prevent HIV infection.
The government encourages all eligible Kenyans, particularly those at substantial risk, to take advantage of the life-saving innovation as we accelerate progress towards ending new HIV infections and achieving universal health coverage. Once again, we are calling upon Kenyans to do so, but not to encourage the recklessness that comes with the fact that people feel that they can be protected from HIV and AIDS. It doesn't mean that you're also immune to other infections, STIs.
Advocate Abdul Nasir has spoken out against Elwak Girls High School for reportedly expelling a Muslim student for wearing hijab. He said the move is unfair and breaks the law on religious freedom and equality. Nasir added that the girl, who is still a minor, was promised earlier that wearing the hijab will be allowed.
From a society perspective, I consider the student as a minor. She's underage. And look at the frustrations that, even look at the TV footage that she was making the explanation on how all this accrued to be. Imagine being admitted in a public school and the principal assures you, or the staff, teaching staff there, that there's no problem absolutely with wearing the hijab. Then 1 month later, there is an organic way of events that are happening that are leading to your frustrations. And to make a point, you know, Mr. Mungala and City, the topic is expulsion of this student. Some of us are privileged to sit in board of trustees in education centers.
Right.
What is an expulsion? From the normal explanation of an expulsion, you must have an indisciplinary issue.
National Treasury CS John Mbadi has assured members of parliament that the government has put strict measures in place to stop the build-up of pending bills by ministries, departments and agencies. Speaking before the National Assembly's Budget and Appropriations Committee while presenting the 2026 budget policy statement, Mbadi admitted that unpaid bills have been a long-standing challenge. He said the government is now working on a clear and sustainable plan to clear existing backlogs.
What we are doing first as this administration is to stop accumulation of further pending bills. Right. So that accumulation of further pending bills is what we are trying to stop. That is why in 2024-25 we did not cross over with any outstanding exchequer releases, including the counties, so that we gave the counties an opportunity to settle their pending bills for the year.
The notorious Mexican cartel boss Nemesio Oseguera, also known as El Mencho, was buried Monday in a small ceremony. Masked soldiers watched over the funeral and trucks full of flowers lined the way. Oseguera led the Jalisco New Generation Cartel and was the most wanted drug trafficker in the U.S. with $15 million bounty. He was killed on February 22nd during a raid by Mexican elite troops. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga.
In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
A very good morning to you. Welcome back to Radio Generation. This is the People's Breakfast on 88.8 FM. That's in Nairobi. Then when you are driving to coast, or once you land there via that jet, you make sure that you tune in to 90.7 FM. But if you are taking that camel to Garissa County, yeah, you can find us on 89.5 FM. I don't know why I chose camel for Garissa, because I've seen camels in Nairobi as well. Like anyway, it is what it is.
What do you mean? Me, I've seen camels in Makueni.
Hey, in Makueni?
Yes.
You've seen a camel in Makueni County? Camels, not one. Kadha wa kadha.
I have seen camels in Taita Taveta County.
Yeah. Taita ni sawa.
Ziko nyingi.
But
mnajua mnapakana, Makueni inapakana na Taita pia.
Ni kweli. Yes. Unajua kuna mnyama ambaye anaitwa ngamia, ambaye ametake over kule kunaitwa aje kule Australia. They actually run they actually run wild in Australia, and they are hunted for sport and then of course killed for meat in Australia because ni nyingi. Ngamia, camel, they actually call feral camels. Zikoko, they're just roaming around. The way dicks just roam around in Kitui County and Machakos and other kinds of animals, you know, the zebras and the antelopes and other kinds of gazelles. Huko nini bwana, hizo vitu zina run wild Australia. Hizo vitu nilikuwa naona documentary nikasema, had I been in Australia, I'd be killing a camel on a daily, well, not daily, but why? To eat it.
Do you know how big a camel is?
Yes. See, me and my buddies, we just go to the wild and just catch a random, you know, camel, skin it and cut it down and eat it for months. Mimi utainiona butchery, huwezi nipata butchery. Kukuwa na ngamia zinatembea tu hivi.
Take a sip of your coffee. Clearly. Okay. Sugar level imeanza kushuka.
Lakini cities unaona kinamaanisha. Ungekwanga ungekuwa na butchery kweli?
I would. Ndio.
Unaenda kudu na kuna ngamia hapa nje kwenu. Like there could be even one randomly just passing outside your house. Toka tu napanga ikimbishe tu.
Utaishika bro. And stop watching animations where people run the way you're suggesting. Hiyo itakuharibu kichwa. Wachana hiyo kitu bwana. Wewe mazee road runner imekwama kwa kichwa.
So they don't go like okay, then I would come out with a bow and arrow and I'd be like
bro. Roadrunner ni fiti, but wachana roadrunner.
Mimi wananga wa Masai, you know, when they in the Mara and other places, Amboseli, wherever the Masais are, in their manyatas, you know, they're in the wild, literally. They live there with lions, zebras, and other kinds of animals. You know me, if I were a Masai living in that area, ningekuwa nakula nyama daily. Na si ngombe wangu. Hizo zenye zinatembea hapo nje. Kwanza zebra ikai hivi tu haina rada, my friend. It becomes
and
dinner.
And what makes you think they don't eat meat every day?
Oh yeah, there's that. That's why City you're wise. That's why you're wise. Anyway, let's discuss something that has come to our attention. Members of Parliament in this Parliament of Kenya have decided to push, or rather they're in a push rather, to raise NGCDF, that is the National Government Constituency Development Fund, by about 3 billion Kenya shillings starting this July.
What was the current amount?
The current amount?
Yes, because if they're raising it to 3 billion, what is the current amount that UCDF is?
Right. Nikumanisha ilikuanga a lot of money.
Well, in Aminishago comment there was an amount, and now for it to increase, increase means it has been expanded, it has been increased. Isn't it?
Yes.
Increase means it has been increased. That is me being smart.
So according to the interwebs, it is at 54.777 billion. That is for the financial year of 2024.
So I want to multiply it by 6.
They want to,
yes.
If they just want to increase it
Or
by
5.
3 billion. Increase by, not multiply by, but increase by. So kutoka 54 itafika to 57, if that report is anything to go by.
You know, Paul, I do not see why this is a problem. If they want to increase it, by all means, let them.
Actually, according to this report, they're saying with proposals to increase the 2025-2026 allocation to over 61.8 billion to meet statutory requirements. Now, the funds are divided among Kenya's 290 constituencies, primarily focused on education infrastructure, bursaries, and security. Should actually... You love the CDF. I mean, sorry, no, you agree with the allocation of CDF.
I support the idea of the CDF.
Yes, and it being allocated to members of parliament.
Yes.
But now they're saying statutory requirements and then, allocating it to security. Let me just read that again. Education infrastructure, bursaries, and security projects.
Yes.
Should that be the main aim of Constituency Development Fund? Constituency Development
People who
Fund.
do not think that it should not be are the ones who should explain why they do not think it should be so. I actually think it should be so. It is a form of devolution which certainly gives the member of parliament more clout than they ordinarily had, but it also brings accountability to a level which the county government doesn't, with regards to one, oversight that is supposed to be provided by the MCAs who do, I'll leave it blank for you to fill the blanks as you see fit, but an MP is far, far more accessible than a governor.
Okay.
Let me explain why it is you've heard me support the CDF in the way that I do. For the longest time, one of the things that we enjoyed in this country was the immense disparity in terms of service delivery to citizens. There was a point at which you could be guaranteed that development was precisely that to every corner of the country. And that is why you will travel to certain parts of the country and you'll be shocked to find health facilities that have nobody in it. Literally neglected.
Yeah.
You'll find some installations that were built up to a certain point, they were never completed. And these are many. There are those who have figured out and said that if you do a rough estimate of many of these development projects that are incomplete, the total amount would be around 2 trillion. So that's 2 trillion shillings worth of investments that have simply gone dormant and are considered a complete waste. Okay? That's number one. Number two, when I look at what it is that emanated from what we called district focus in the Moi era, where the understanding was we wanted to bring development via the district, it was a form of devolution, okay? And at the center of this was a DC. DC was a government official,
yes,
a district commissioner.
Yes.
Okay? It was an introduction to something new, and in many ways one could argue it did some work. Why? Because if you look at, say, the Ministry of Works, the Ministry of Works and their functions were actually devolved to the point of the district. So things like the repair of roads and issues that required attention, you didn't need national government or Kera or Kura or whatever. Your district, and every country had a district. There was a mechanized unit that every district had. This mechanized unit was a unit that had tractors that could plow, it had earth movers that could pave roads, it was equipment that could help maintain the road network, and it was equipment that farmers could lease to have their land tilled.
Okay.
Every district had them. Okay? So the understanding was that with this, you didn't need what you call national government intervention because the money was already allocated to the district. Some along the line it was thought that this probably didn't work or it was neglected or whatever happened, but we stopped hearing of the district focus. When the suggestion for the CDF came in, there was an understanding, and this is my view, that when you represent people, you should be able to do something for them beyond just being in parliament and trying to legislate and oversight. That is the argument that those who are opposed would say, but their job is just to legislate and oversight. And I'm of the view you need to expand that. And why do I say this? My own experience with CDF.
Yes.
I have seen roads that ordinarily would not have been given attention being given attention.
Yes.
By locals. They get aggregate which is accessible locally. They get people, individuals, citizens to participate in the paving on the road, and where you need mechanized help, the compacting of those roads, you then bring in that equipment. CDF. I have seen classrooms built by CDF. Okay? This is supposed to be a national government function, I understand. But if the national government had built these classrooms, then CDF would be defunct. We don't need the CDF. I have seen very many people who are able to go to school who ordinarily wouldn't, because again of the bursary system. If you ask me, when people talk about it being a source where the member of parliament can just dip his fingers and see as he sees fit, yes, it has been. But for the few members of parliament who have actually utilized it well, the people in their constituency have benefited immensely.
Let me just read something here from our listeners. Job Kola amesema hivi, good people, this is in capital letters, he's clearly emphasizing on this particular point. Good people, let me emphasize alongside him. NGCDF fund is being felt down here. We don't feel those of some governors. We don't feel those of some governors, bro. If it can be a success on increment, then just do the right thing. MPs empowering the mwananchi. Job Kola, I can see supporting NGCDF just like you are. The real SC is saying, but CT, the county government should provide those services, those things you've just been mentioning here. He's saying that the county government should be doing it. So I don't know whether he's saying he's not with the NGCDF being with MPs, or what exactly is he saying. But my point here is this. I have also no problem with the NGCDF being with our members of parliament. By all means, wapatiwe hiyo pesa. Hata wakitaka increase by 100 billion, wa increase ifike to 161 billion. But I remember a conversation we had here last week on mambo to do with education infrastructure. And some of the questions that were raised were, should MPs be the ones, for example, should they be the ones in charge? And we actually had it with Mr. Adolo, right? Tukauliza, should MPs be the ones to construct schools? Because utenda Kiharu, kule kwa Nyoro, shule I'm sure zimejengwa vizuri, personal sijaenda huko so sijui. But from what I hear, everything is looking good.
It is looking good. Remember, one Mr. Nyoro comes from a community and a constituency.
Yes.
You've heard me say this, so let me repeat it again. Who has had political leaders who competed by bringing development?
Right.
The mindset of the people who live there is participatory in the things that happen in the constituency.
Yes.
So when you have a listening MP, and Ndindi Nyoro seems to be one, very many things will work very well, because he employs labor to help him. Labor from his constituency to help him achieve the goals that he has. It means, one, there's a labor force that can do that work. There's an understanding that they're contributing to something within their community. There's an entire ecosystem that he found. He has created situations within that ecosystem that supports this. So things work swimmingly. Okay?
What of another constituency where the member of parliament is probably clueless, probably doesn't have the kind of thinking that the Kiharu MP has, and then they
start with the Kiharu people. Start with the Kiharu people.
Okay.
The way they think.
Right.
And then come to the Kiharu MP.
All right.
Yes.
So people in another constituency who do not think like the people of Kiharu, therefore they do not elect a leader who would probably do the same things as the one in Kiharu. Right? What does that do to that particular constituency? Wataendelea kurudi nyuma, Kiharu ikifanya nini? Ikiendelea mbele.
Yes, exactly, and they should remain behind, because the understanding of what the citizens want isn't a complicated thing that requires you to go to the university to study for 4 years. But if you are brought up there, you will know what the problems are, and if you don't know, you'll be told.
But now you see, we are disadvantaging the children in this other constituency. Let's
Bro. If the money is given to you and you mismanage it, who are we to blame?
Ni sawa, lakini sasa unaona kuna katoto ka innocent kamezaliwa pale kwa ile constituency. Let's call it Kihaha. So kuna mtoto amezaliwa pale Kihaha constituency mwenye MP wake hajafikiria kumjengea shule, MP wake hajafikiria kumpatia mandazi na chips wakati wa lunch na chapati. Sasa huyu mtoto si makosa yake that yeye ameendelea kubaki nyuma. Huyu mtoto hapigi kura. Mama yake na baba yake ndio wanapiga kura, ni sawa, lakini yeye kama mtoto hajafika ile nafasi ya kupiga kura. And because he or she doesn't know better, even when he or she gets to voting age, will still not make the right decision. Why?
Not necessarily. They will not make the right decision. They've learned nothing.
Exactly.
You see.
So, I do not think CDF should necessarily be for constructing schools. Let schools be constructed by the ministry that understands how to construct schools, and also knows how to equip these schools, knows how to staff these particular schools, so that the future generation will know how to vote better.
Before 1930, 1929, I mentioned this in an earlier hour, Central Kenya understood that the missionary school was not meeting their needs. Why? Because they were being forced to abandon certain cultural processes. And you heard me say, by the time we got to 1939, they had built 60 independent schools. They were independent of the missionary schools. For them to teach, it means their teachers were teaching. Okay? The culture of building schools and ensuring that the education system works, and this culture of Harambee is embedded and entrenched in those communities. You don't need to tell them or teach them. They know it, they understand it, and it is passed down. Leaders are people who listen in those areas to their people and go. You first begin by fulfilling the requirements, and then you go a step further of making sure that whatever they have is better. That's why you hear me talking about the community. The children who are born in northeastern Kenya did not ask to be marginalized. They are reading about the Shifter War the way some people are reading it. I was alive and well when those things happened. But it doesn't mean that they haven't suffered from being marginalized.
Yeah.
They have. But they have done something about it. They haven't sat back and taken on the cloak of victimhood and lived by it. They have done something about it. It is a question of doing something about these things. And in the information age, nobody has an excuse because you know what's happening in other places and you can emulate and you will know what to do. So, if you are unfortunate to come from an area where you have a dodo for an MP, okay, you will really be in pain.
Right.
You will be in immense pain, and that pain will persist until the day you realize that this is the last time you're having such a person as a leader. 1, 2. It'll be the last time you decide to have a leader whom you can't hold to account. Leaders do not feel they're responsible. So the leaders we talk of are leaders who understand their role and they seek to fulfill it. Many others are complete sellouts. From the moment they're elected, the people who elected them are the least denominator in their terms of their consideration.
Hence why I don't think that they should be given the responsibility to build schools.
No. You cannot have a system, or you can't determine that you don't have a system because citizens, 1, don't know and won't hold their leaders to account, number 1. Number 2, you have a means by which you can get rid of these leaders and you don't. Look, somebody who has your interest at heart is not difficult to determine. It's not difficult at all. But if you side with the wrong that they do, you will suffer. It's really not complicated. You will be in pain, immense pain.
You know, Siti, there are some people, some MPs rather, who never went to school.
Well, so if they didn't go to school, what are we supposed to do about that?
Now, imagine you've entrusted that person with building school infrastructure or education infrastructure.
What on earth is wrong with you electing such a person?
No. I'm trying to get to a point here.
Yes, and I'm asking, why do you elect such a person?
So this person, maybe kwa akili yake, education for the county, for his constituency rather, isn't necessarily maybe his priority. There are those who never went to school, but they will ensure that, they have schools in their counties. Because we know of parents who never went to school, but they ensure through thick and thin, their children go to school. But there's a member of parliament here who doesn't see this as a priority, and yet you have given him CDF, and so the constituency is relying on this particular person who doesn't see the need for a school to actually develop this particular school or these institutions for them. Unaona hapo na disadvantage hawa watu City.
whose advantage? Was that person forced on them?
No.
Then, my friend,
that is why
consequences of the choices you have made. Is that really difficult to understand?
That is why maneno ya shule, to be honest, sioni yachi. Wacha wapatiwe pesa, ukitaka kwenda wanunue makuku, wanunulie kila member of their constituency kuku, wanunue kuku na walishe watu na makuku ni sawa.
If this NGCDF is the means by which you understand the inefficiency, the ignorance, and the total incapacity of the MP, so be it.
Because now we'll have to suffer for 5 years.
And all right, why don't we converse this conversation? So you will deny those whose MPs know what to do the right to actually benefit, because they get the same amount of money, man. If yours uses the money for Sharia every day, that's the guy you chose. That is the guy that you decided was going to lead you. So decide whether you want to keep up with that lead, because this money is given every year. You need 1 year to determine whether this guy knows what he's doing or not. Then you have 4 years in which to make a decision. If you want to accommodate this person for the next 4 years, then you will suffer.
Anne says CDF's impact and effectiveness is unfortunately dependent on MP, but it is a great initiative.
As I said, my reference point is what I've seen. That money, some of it may even be taken astray. Money never goes astray. Somebody takes it. But when I look at what they have managed to do, the thing I can compare it with is when I was doing some work in Nandi County many years ago, and I would drive through the tea estates. The thing that fascinated me about the roads there was how well maintained they were. They were not tarmacked, but they were all weather roads. They are some of the smoothest roads I've ever actually traveled on. These are people who understood the moment it's a problem, you sort it out. You never let it become a big problem. Okay? Why? You need to transport your tea to the factory. They understood the value. In the 21st century, you can easily tell that this is a person who will want to at least help. There are many people who demonstrate that, and then they become members of parliament, and suddenly they've disappeared and they don't know what to do. Now, you have a choice again as a people who are represented by such a person. You can either keep them there and keep talking and lamenting, so put on that cloak of lamentation, or you can ask, how do we get rid of this person so that we can bring somebody else in? Yes. Because when MPs know they can be gotten rid of, they'll behave differently. They know there are 5 years in which to work, so they can ignore you. Yes.
Kagiri says NGCDF erodes the balance and separation of powers in the legislature.
Paul, there's a thinking among some people that even this devolution we had should have been scrapped. They're always thinking about something. There are those who felt that in the original plan we had regions and not counties the size that we have. But you see, where that argument falls short in my estimate is this. What stops the regions where these counties belong to from forming a regional block? What stops them? And the answer is nothing stops them. Governors feel they are self-entitled units that can do what they like with the money they've been given. So because of this, should we stop? Should we put a halt to the county system? Or should we stop sending money to the county? No,
we shouldn't.
So the argument for the CDF is the same, because if something is intended to help and it works, you look at what isn't working and you seek to find ways of rectifying that.
You see, let me take that as an example then. For example, we have policemen in a country of 58 million people. Majority of the Kenyans are law-abiding citizens, but there are those few elements that will go against the grain. That is why we have the police there, so that they can ensure that wale watu wamefanya nini? Wale watu wabaya wamekamatwa. So nikitumia hii example hapa kwa mambo ya CDF, sisemi ati sasa juu ati juu kuna a few MPs that ni wabaya, sasa NGCDF ikuwe scrapped ama nini. What I would like done is for certain responsibilities taken away from them. Because if we're going to rely on CDF to achieve, that is why you'll have certain counties remaining behind. There's a committee actually.
Paul, that can't be the reason why certain counties are remaining behind.
They
remain behind because they have useless leaders.
Now, the Real for example, is saying, I can see some MPs not do anything, then blame the president if he is unpopular in their constituency. Na ni ukweli. Watu ambao kwa opposition, non-performing MPs of course, who will not utilize their CDF well and perhaps other resources given to them, they will go and say to their people, look guys, the reason why hukuna development ni because development inaenda Nyanza. The reason why kuna development ni juu development imeenda wapi? Central. The reason kuna development huku kwetu ni juu development imeenda anataja mali kwingine Rift Valley. That person is clearly obviously lying to his people. But because his people have been radicalized, they'll be like, enyewe tangu Raila aingie broad-based government, sasa Wajaluo ndio wanajengewa manyumba. Wajaluo ndio wanafanya nini? Wajaluo ndio wanajengewa mashule. Wajaluo ndio wanaekewa port huko and so on and so forth. Sasa umesikia kuna hii barabara nyingine inajengwa sijui ni SGR inaenda sijui wapi. Unaona? Sasa Wajaluo ndio wanaekewa you will get all this manner of arguments because this person has known that if he just invokes the name of the president in a certain way, then things will go his way. That is why again I insist. ECDF. Na unajua unasema wacha watu waumie sababu hao ndio make hizo decisions.
Actually si wacha watu waumie. Waliamua wenyewe. You know these leaders aren't imposed on people, or maybe you know a place where they're imposed. See, they elect them. So
sometimes when a child doesn't know better,
bro, it's like you marry a wife and say, you know this woman is noisy. When you didn't know she was noisy when you're marrying her. Yeah. Oh, she's opinionated. When you didn't know she was opinionated when you're marrying her. When somebody starts complaining about their wife, I'm using that example, my friend, the problem isn't the wife. That wife is probably exactly what she has been all along.
Yes.
So you must ask, what really is the problem?
So msemo kweli, okay, before I get to msemo kweli, Kenya Home amesema hivi, CDF is a great kitty without the portion of education. I don't like our mothers. I don't like how our mothers, sisters are treated. I hate when politicians use public money to disrespect their employers. Okay? So,
I don't understand what that person is saying.
No, what he's saying is, the CDF, mambo ya education itolewe kwa CDF. Wacha watu wapatiwe pesa wakitaka kununulia kina mama vitunguu, wakitaka kununulia kina mama leso, wakitaka kuja kwa vyama vya wanawake na wasaidie empowerment programs, na hiyo pesa ya CDF ni sawa. Lakini mambo ya education itolewe kwa CDF. Msemo kweli amesema hivi, Siti Muga, jameni, what does the constitution say about CDF? We can't sit here and agitate raping of constitution. Yeah?
Oh, by the way, he should read what the court said about it.
Yes.
It is legal, my friend. The illegality imetoka. You hakuna. But even when it was illegal, I still supported it. Yes.
And now you see what they are doing. They're increasing this money by some 3 billion.
You know, Paul, let them increase it. But
the amount of money we lose daily.
Let them also tell us where it is they're going to get this money, which they're going to increase from.
Where do you think, Siti?
I don't know. They will tell us because...
Yeah.
Is it a priority to increase this money? They want to increase it, sir. No, they must explain and justify.
Because security infrastructure. No. Security, education.
Justification is not telling us what you think you want to do with the money. You must juxtapose. We want to do this with the money because there's a need here. Then the national government doesn't do this, we need to do it. The county government are supposed to do this, they don't. And because if it's given to us, then we understand this at a level which will actually be useful because it is at a community. Whatever your argument is going to be, you must justify it. Yes. State you want the money, fine, we've understood that. Inatoka wapi? Where are you going to get this money from? What are you going to use it for? All the things you're saying you're going to do these things. Why are you the one who's going to do these things? We do not have other instruments or other agencies of government that are supposed to ensure these things are done.
For example, security. You tell me what an MP has got to do with security.
Yeah, that's you explain.
Yeah.
Tell us. This is security. What do you want to do?
You become a member of parliament.
Security. Security
accounted. Are you going to employ
security
policemen?
Is a docket of the national government.
Are you going to employ policemen? Are you going to employ what are they called? The county commanders and the APs. Are you the one who's going to employ security guards in the like what exactly?
They're not called security guards.
Yes.
Security personnel.
Do you?
Yeah. That's why I said, by all means increase it, but explain to us. See, I'm not going to lambast it and say that this thing is absolutely a waste of time before I've understood their thinking. Now, but this is where now these fellows, we give a job and think that they are our bosses, and yet we're the ones who giving them the job. This is where they fall short. They don't want to explain. They feel they shouldn't explain.
And there's a question usually asked. Tell us what you have done with the ones that you, the CDF that you have been receiving.
Thank you so much, Paul. Yes, so that
hii unataka kuongeza by 2 million.
Tuone, because we understand there is a gap. Because when you demonstrate what you've done with it, the shortfalls will be seen. At least they'll be evidenced. So when you require more money, it is not difficult to justify the shortfall that you are trying to bridge. But just demand and state, we want this, and that's supposed to be okay. God Almighty.
Kagiri is saying, at this point, we should then give judges funds to develop their areas if separation of powers does not exist. But I agree. It's a very good question.
No, it is not.
It is.
That point of view is a parody of what we're discussing. Judges don't represent people, and neither are they elected. Their function is to adjudicate. It's a completely different function. That they should get more money so that they can do their jobs better, I cannot argue with. It is a fair point. But you cannot compare judges with members of parliament. They're a different arm of government. Their functions are completely different. Yes.
Siti Muga, this is according to Msema Ukweli. Siti Muga, we are not fools anymore. In August of 2022, Supreme Court declared NGCDF as unconstitutional.
Yes, they did.
Now, the role of MPs is oversight plus legislation. This was made so to end corruption. City, hakuna ng'ombe hapa Kenya.
Well, I'm glad he says now they're smarter, meaning there was a time they were not. That is how he sees it. Please update your reading and find out whether NGCDF is still illegal or not. Just a simple query.
Yes.
Yes.
It is not about the utilization of funds, but rather integrity of institutions. The role of MPs is legislation. Development is the executive and county government. Why is it so difficult for those two governments to actually execute that role that they have been given?
It's not difficult. When people make things difficult, doesn't mean it is difficult. When they give the impression that it is difficult, it doesn't mean it is difficult.
Because you will find complaints in Kitui County. You will find in Machakos, Makueni, Nairobi, Isiolo, Garissa. And here we are talking about these development projects, that have been given to the county governments. So for us to actually now look at the member of parliament as the person who's going to come and save us from this situation,
actually,
then
no,
it is a problem.
Actually, we are not. Their rules are different.
We are. We are looking at them. We are.
You know, Paul, if you look at the way we structure our political structure and political setup, some of these roles may seem to be a duplication of the other.
Yes.
But then there'd be a duplication of even what is the national government. For instance, look at a devolved function like health. It is argued that the bulk of the money in health remains the national government.
Okay.
And yet the actual application of the health process and provision is the county government. So then there's a discussion that comes into being called policy decisions, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So the question you want to ask is, so the process of making policy, implementations, etc., costs more than the actual process of providing healthcare services? In my mind, no. Providing healthcare service costs more. Because you're actually doing something with the money, and the people of Kenya in their entirety are having their health needs met. Policy, implementation, why should it cost more? The point is, there are discussions we have which in and of themselves are, should we say, non-entities. Non-entities in this sense. You're having an argument for the sake of having the argument, and yet the truth is not complicated, but the argument now complicates the truth. So you focus on the argument instead of focusing on the truth. The national government in certain areas does not want to cede whatever control they have. It is for that reason that I've always said the Transition Authority and the Commission of the Implementation of the Constitution was given a very short life. That thing should have been given a minimum of 15 years. So this discussion we're having about the Constitution, the implementation, interpretation would have been dealt by these authorities. But they died at a very early age, or whatever teeth they have was completely removed because some of the functions were then transferred into some ministry. So unless you follow, you won't even know where those functions were transferred, and you won't even know what they do. they were independent, and that is what gave them the potency to do what they were supposed to do.
Right.
Okay? Back to this issue of NGCDF. There is never anything, in my opinion, wrong with allocating money to people you've elected to try and meet the needs of the people. But let's start with the question I normally ask. Kindly demonstrate what you've done, what you've been given. In the time you have been in this position, we will not hold you accountable for what somebody else did. Your time. We know the sum total of what you've received.
Yes.
Direct it for us so that we can see what has done. Any money given to, any money budgeted and meant for the betterment of people's lives is never a waste of money. The problem, again, let me say it, I don't know how, I think I'm saying it wrongly. If the leaders we elect think they can get away with doing what they want, they will. The only people who can make them understand they can't get away with it are the people who give them the job. But we have chosen, in many ways, not to. We have preferred to follow the path of complaint and to wear the cloak of lamentation, where all we do is whine and complain. As opposed to asking, this person is actually responsible for my problems. How do we ensure that he stops having this job? How do we vote him out? How do we go to, what do we do? We never want to take that path. We prefer the path of let him stay for another 5 years, for whatever years, at the end of it we'll get rid of him. So for that period of time, the suffering I was talking of, because of that decision, you will continue suffering.
What of the incidences we've had, such as voter suppression, where, because I know that,
you win.
Yeah, when an MP wins in an unfair manner, whereby because he knows his opponent comes from this particular area, let me ensure that in that particular ward hakutakuwa na voting, so he organizes some kind of chaos in that particular area, then his supporters do not come out in the numbers that they need to come out and vote. So in his strongholds he ends up winning, because of his strongholds rather, he ends up winning the election. This person will go back to parliament and continue perpetuating the problems that he had in the previous term. Of course, yeah, I'm just pointing out a situation. I do not know of any one person who is actually doing this and rigging his way through the election, but you cannot tell me that an entire population in a particular constituency keep on voting for the same person over and over, clearly seeing that this person is not helping them in any way, shape or form. But anyway, let's even say that they decide that because Mbuvi has been a very bad MP, or rather has not been a performing MP, let us give Siti Muga a chance. Then they vote me out and vote you in. Na wewe pia bado unakuja because ulikuwa umewadanganya, you still don't perform. Then in another 5 years they decide, okay, Siti Muga is not our person. Then they vote in Rania Abdi. Then they realize 5 MPs down the line, hapa kuwa mnatusaidia, they're not happen City.
It is a conundrum of sorts. We have seen people who, as an outsider,
yes,
you look at it and say, but this person seems to want to help their people. And the people will not vote for him. So you have to ask, what do they know that we don't know? There will be individuals who fit that category.
Yes.
There's nothing that you can point to and say this person has actually helped the community in whether it is raising the awareness, their ethos. Forget the tangible building of bridges and roads. Let's leave that aside. And yet the people still prefer to have this person as their leader. It's something I found very puzzling. And I never state why. I always ask, why do people support such individuals? The gentleman who was an MP for Kilome, a guy called Harun Mwau. From all accounts, as an outsider I would hear, he bought X number of motorbikes for people. He did this for people. Didn't seem to help him very much, did it?
Clearly not.
No, it did not help him. Okay. There are others who've come and who wear a similar badge. But when I asked, because I was told, this person did not quite agree with a certain individual whom we think is our leader in this region. I said, what did they agree with? And yet I look at that same region. I'm giving this as an example.
Yes.
Where somebody else comes along and he's elected as a governor. And he's having problems. So there's the issue of MCAs being MCAs and wanting, according to what we hear, to be given money to do benchmarking, which in all reality is something that, for everything I've seen, is actually it's an invisible commodity which they're chasing, because people benchmark so that they can come and implement. But if they say they've benchmarked and there's no implementation of what they were benchmarking on, then I assume the commodity is invisible. So let's say they were chasing an invisible commodity, they came back with it, and the invisibility has maintained. Okay? But then something unusual happens, and it says, look, guys, let's just disband this whole thing. People tell him, what you do, sir? We want you to go back. Do you have a party? Your own. We will elect you. We will elect you. The MCs can be nothing but you. Just come with your party, we'll elect you. People are able to make such decisions. This is what I'm trying to tell you.
Yes.
Where on the one hand, they decide we are supporting you, it doesn't matter which party you're in. Our favorite party is this, but you, we will elect you. Okay? Another one does try something and they vanish into oblivion. You have to ask, hey, what happened to so-and-so? Okay? Is he still around? The understanding that people have as to what is in their benefit cannot be mistaken. So you have to ask, what is it that makes them so lethargic as to not even move in a direction that would assist them? The key thing I think here is leadership. When there's a leader who has shown they're willing to stick their necks out for you, people follow. They are willing. They say, yes, I know this word, but this is what we're doing. But also, one notices there are leaders who, by their actions, demonstrate to their people that they're actually in touch with their needs. Why? They go to these people. They have conversations with these people. They, individually, they explain what they're doing to these people. They form committees so that the public participation is understood because it is structured within those communities. And this is somebody who can be called upon to discuss an issue and to explain an issue, and they will make themselves available on a shared date. Now, this is what I call capacity building in action. So you see it. So the people are, the word, empowered. So the leader has led. Other leadership, the best I can explain that it is spiritual, because it has to be spiritual. Because it's a sort of leadership and people are following it, but it doesn't follow the example that I've just demonstrated. So why are they following them? Spiritual means this person represents aspirations that we have. If we feel we're marginalized, and this person seems to be able to stick out their necks for us who are marginalized, then this is a leader to follow. So these are the discussions of development and benchmarking don't really feature. People give you a blank slate, meaning they allow you to make decisions as you see fit, more or less. Now the problem with that is the ripple effect. Those who follow that lead, other leaders also come in who will be doing that, and yet they at their level, they're supposed to perform actually. They're supposed to. They are chosen so that they can actually represent their leader and ensure that development, as we know it as Kenyans and as Africans, gets to us. But they don't. Why? Because this is where the anomaly comes in. They know they don't really need you to elect them. They just need the supreme leader to say, elect this person, and you'll be elected. That's it. So, when I say it's a bit of a conundrum, I look at all these things and sometimes I'm puzzled because I'm thinking, how do you get out of this rut? How do you get to a point where people actually know what it is that they're thinking? I was having a conversation with one of my friends in my county.
Yes.
And he was telling me about the thinking of the people in my county. The county I come from.
Yeah.
He told me, these two-term people are not understanding it. I said, what do you mean? I didn't answer one term. Said, even that one they don't understand. I said, explain. He says, you know, it is the people who are propagating it.
Okay.
I said, what do you mean? And he gave me examples of individuals. He said, you see, when such a person propagates it, we then align that term to that person. So that person is unpopular, that term will be unpopular. And I said, is it for one term or two terms? He said, for both. So depending on who presents it. I said, so is it effective? He said, no, not really. Because people don't understand. So I asked him, so what are people saying? He said, when you talk to people, they tell you, look, we don't understand. We hear so-and-so talking about one term, we hear so-and-so talking about two term, but we still don't understand. So what do you wish to see? He said, they seem to be saying, you know what we do? These negotiations we hear they're having, can they explain to us what they're negotiating for exactly?
Yeah.
And how we'll benefit exactly?
Yeah.
I said, that's what? I said, yeah, that's what you hear. I said, these things they're telling us. We want them to tell us what they're negotiating about, because they're hearing negotiations. What are they negotiating? And how will we benefit? And I said, you're not hearing. I said, we're not hearing. We're just hearing negotiation. Now, is this not a leadership problem? People are speaking among themselves and they're raising these questions. But the leaders whom they have elected are just talking among themselves, discussing things which matter to them. The monarchy is left puzzled. Now, what I'm telling you is a recipe for voter suppression. Not that somebody has come and sat on the votes.
Yes.
The voters will figure out, why am I bothering to vote for this thing I don't understand? And yet the opportunity to explain it, to be understood, has existed. See, voter suppression, votes can be suppressed deliberately by people who are able to, or votes can be suppressed by indifference.
Yeah.
When people feel, I do not see why this should benefit me, they will not vote. And when they do not vote, they don't realize they made a decision that may not necessarily work for them.
By not voting, they actually voted.
Actually, they have. You put it well. They have. They actually have. And they've given somebody who would not have had that opportunity an opportunity. Remember, we were looking at this recent election that we had in Kakamega, in Isiolo, and in Embu. And look at the margins. Isiolo, the turnout was 37%.
Yes.
In Kakamega, it was 59%. In Embu, it was 53% or something. I may be mixing up the numbers, but there wasn't a 60% turnout. There wasn't. The number of people who didn't turn out, in Isiolo it was clear, over 60% of the people who registered did not turn out. In other places, there's some 46% who didn't turn out, the other one is 41%. So if these 41% people voted, still would have been a difference in that outcome.
Oh, yes.
So, again, voter suppression, and the voter suppression is not because goons have been brought in, people are indifferent. So what is it that makes people indifferent to these processes? Because that indifference is what you see when we accommodate leaders who don't serve our interests. It is the same when we see we have no wish to hold leaders who don't serve our interests to account. It's indifference. It's like you have given up. What makes people give up? Because in my opinion, the NGCDF, whether it works or not, the county governments, whether it works or not, the indifference is what fuels what it is that we see. Because if the indifference was not there, the MCAs would have fires on their rear end and they'd be pushing the governors. But nobody holds them to account. Nobody pressurizes them.
Then how do we ensure that there is accountability as far as how the NCDF is used?
Paul, how do you understand accountability? Let's start with us. How do you understand accountability? Because to be able to propagate the concept, you need to understand it. How do you understand accountability?
Accountability is transparency. Accountability is purposing, using whatever it is that you've been given for the purpose that it was intended for. Accountability is being answerable to that particular purpose, that particular thing that you've been given, ensuring that you've used it for that particular purpose, and being, like I said, answerable for its use.
I look at it as a willingness to accommodate not just views that are different from mine, but views that are completely contrary to mine. Willingness to accommodate with the questions and understand, so that I understand it further. That willingness makes it possible for me to be corrected. If I can be corrected, it means I can start on a path and I'll be willing to change. But when I begin by not having that willingness, it does not matter what somebody says. Shingo ngumu, I will not move, because I will think I know better. And I don't, and I will actually be upset and annoyed with these people who think they can tell me, and yet I'm the one who's the member of parliament. Kwani? Do they see another one? Si mheshimiwa ni mimi? Yes. MCS, mheshimiwa ni mimi. Governor, si excellency ni mimi. So wewe unaongea kama nani? Now that one, the way unaongea kama nani, who are you speaking as? And I am the one. See, the servant has become the Lord. We give you a job, then you now decide you give yourself this job. And you have no need to listen to us. People may bring development.
The
other day we were talking about understanding people. Somebody who has a willingness to change and a willingness to accommodate ideas is not a weak person. That is an extremely strong person. It's a characteristic you need to understand. When you hear people talking about Irungu Kangata, they tell you this man comes to meetings and just listens. He doesn't talk. He has understood it. These people that elected him, so when he goes to them, he goes there to listen to what they are saying. They have something to say, so he listens. He listens. There are many ways somebody can demonstrate their capacity to listen. Many politicians and those who elect don't listen. They have no wish to listen. They simply don't listen, and they believe that they should tell you what is good for you.
And that's why I asked, then how do we achieve that? How do we get to a point whereby they will have to listen? They listen and they do exactly what it is that they are supposed to do.
Simply put, you make them. Simply put, you make them. There's always the discussion leading from the top. The thing that characterized Kibaki the most was the guy hardly talked. Remember I told you how we went for a meeting once. The individual, 6 hours, the guy didn't say a thing. He hardly talked. Communicating doesn't mean you have to verbalize something. What he did, spoke. You saw, you realized, this guy isn't talking, but you saw. So did you need further discussion? Yes, you could discuss what is done, but you're seeing it. That makes for far bigger, better, more impactful conversation. The things you do. Yes.
You know, if remember there's a time I was saying that we need to have some kind of school of governance whereby if you want to stand for an election position, MCA, MP, woman rep, president, whatever it is, you have got to produce some kind of certificate from this place.
You know, it's a very good idea, sir. We do have a school of governance. Government, actually. But you're right. These are people who can come up with such a curriculum so that anybody who wishes, you're right, anybody who wishes to vie, okay? You have to come up with a certificate or a diploma.
Yes. From that particular institution.
Yes, so that we know that when you're looking for certificate of good conduct and what have you, we ask for certificate of whatever you want to call it.
Of that school of leadership.
Yes, so that we know. Not the one you chose, this one.
Ndio kama MCA unajua ya kwamba ukiingia pale katika ofisi yako ya MCA hivi ndivyo utadeliver. Ukienda kama MP hivi ndivyo utadeliver. Kama woman rep hii ndio benchmark yako ya delivery. Ukienda pale kama governor, senator na mpaka president. Na eventually the citizenry, the people who elected you will actually score you on those particular points. Number one, did you score an A? Did you score a B or a C or a D as far as accountability is concerned, as far as corruption is concerned, as far as delivery of the services that you told people you're going to deliver are concerned? So that now Kenyans can also know by the hile shule iko pale. The same way we know that ukifanya KCPE kuna kuanga na ukitaka kwenda national school you will need X number of marks.
It's known.
Even the one who didn't study.
So when you don't go, you know why you didn't go.
Even my grandmother, she might not have gone to the university, but she knows the difference between a first class honors. She knows the difference between a second class and a juanga pass. Unaona?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know, Paul? You've spoken like 20 wise people. This is an excellent suggestion. And those who are listening who can do something about it, people set this thing up.
And amesema by the movie there are feral chicken in Australia too. We need to go to Australia. But then again, I think it is Lydia Cherono who said, "Morning my people, movie usijaribu kwenda Australia na hiyo ability yako ya machado. You will rot in jail." So are you saying that we are not allowed to just slaughter animals there? Just don't go and then slaughter them. Anyway, coming up next is the news, and then after the news, Rania Abdi is going to be taking over on the Retro Box. And guess who they are hosting today? They are hosting Violet Wanza Mbuvi, aka Mama Paul Mungala Mbuvi. My mom is actually going to be on Retro Box today. I can't wait. So leo sitoki hapa mpaka afanye hiyo kipindi. Coming up next, like I said, the news with Winnie Magangas for me and City. Kwa heri ya kuonana.
This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. Small-scale traders in Thika have staged a protest